It is a solo monkey joined by Jordan Schultz, Jeff Russ behind the glass, Dusty here out today.
What's going on, boy?
Man? Hey, it is a Danny and Dusty Schultzy Rusty edition. We appreciate y'all. It's going to be one of those days. I'm running things, so things will break. That's how this goes.
Yeah,
Happy Thursday to you.
We're going to go right in the side of the mountain a couple of times today, I'm sure.
No, the one thing we can count on is the only time we're ever realistically close to being on the clock on a regular basis is when I'm here, and that's only because I'm staring at the clock like, okay, next. Because I don't have to do that always, because Dusty usually handles that for us. So, little poke behind the curtain. Schultz, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I went to the Fall Out Boy concert actually here in Portland. That was awesome,
Yeah?
Moda. Yeah, I mean, it started... God, Fall Out Boy did not take the stage until I looked right at my phone. 9/11 was when they finally started. I hate sitting through 3 openers, and I kind of thought that I was gonna eat like miss Jimmy Eat World, but then I ended up sitting through that entire performance even after we got dinner. So
Were you in the middle of the concert?
What do you mean, like the middle of the concert? Where, like in the middle of the performance?
Jimmy Eat World, the middle.
Oh, you're funny. Oh, God, see,
Was Jimmy Butler there?
He did do the.
I don't believe he
full
was.
video. He did the full like full social push out with it too.
Yeah.
There's a million photos of him in I don't even know what you call that. Emo cowboy regalia.
Yes,
That's pretty close. I think that's fair enough.
That's like if I put that Jimmy Butler emo cowboy regalia in an AI generator.
Hollywood cowboy.
It's probably not going to be far off.
Yeah, lots of rhinestones.
Yeah.
Very, very sequined.
I would say I saw some people looking like that at the concert. That was kind of what the general vibe was.
Bedazzled.
Yeah, and there
we go.
they did play that song at least, so I got to hear that live.
Okay. So good show though?
Oh, it was fantastic. I am loving. My wife's favorite band is Fall Out Boy, and I probably knew 60-70% of the songs, and I'm loving that performance.
Okay. The only one I really know is that song from whatever the name of it was in Big Hero 6, the Disney movie.
Oh.
Because my kids,
Turns out soundtracks still a viable way of like developing music. You know, remember when we were growing up, like you used to have like every movie had like a hit single.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, yeah.
Instead, it's now like a movie makes a song. Like
right.
You get like Frozen.
Yes.
Or what's another one that's been big? The Encanto one,
yep.
right?
Encanto.
I don't have kids, so I don't know.
We don't talk about Bruno.
What was it? Watched over and over. I'm missing something. I liked it
a million times.
No, that was one of the
songs
in the Encanto movie.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Yeah. I knew that one. I have a niece and a nephew. That's like how I tangentially experience these things. Is I'm a monster, and my family uses my Disney Plus. So, as the good Lord intended, share your logins, everybody,
for as long as you can.
Yes,
app by app, that will be going
except
away.
on Netflix, because they'll charge
they'll
you more
get
now.
you,
yeah.
But I always see the sign-ins for Disney Plus, and I'm like, there we go. Hey, what's happening here?
Yeah.
Right about now, I'm like, the kids are being nightmare fuel right now. Let's go ahead and throw that movie on.
I mean, how many profiles are you up to? Like 8, 9?
I was going to say,
7
they created
at
their own
least.
profiles on there?
The kids each have one, and hilariously, my niece made my sister. She used what's the Angelina Jolie one?
Maleficent. Yeah.
My niece made my sister's profile picture Maleficent.
Gotcha. What's funny is on our Max account, you have your different profiles on there too, right? So I've got my profile, my wife has hers, and our avatars, our profile pictures. I'm Tony Soprano and she's Carmela.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys have the individual ones, huh? To keep your algorithms apart.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, you have to do that. My wife would get pissed at all the crime documentary sleazy series that pop up on my algorithm.
That's my wife.
Oh, she watches that?
All of that, yeah. So,
hell yeah.
Because she watches all the Love is Blind crap and all those other... I'm like, I don't want that on my profile.
That is, well, see, that's the thing. Is like, I don't use Netflix all that often, and so I just don't.
Yeah. Love is Blind is a lie too. So do they put like 5s and 6s on there? No, you know that you're going to get a 9 or 10 on the other side of that door.
Well, I don't know.
Love is Blind is rarely. If they did like a whole show,
they throw a catfish in there every now and then.
4, 5s, and 6s with 9s and 10s on the other side of those doors. That would be a show I would watch 7 seasons.
I guess the other day there was a reveal.
Got to really rolling the dice.
My wife was telling me there was a reveal where they came out and they saw each other and I think it was the dude and he was just like, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm gonna go.
See, that's
did the hard pivot, huh?
He was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm out.
Sorry, I'd rather watch that.
Threw his hands up.
Yeah,
Nah, I'm
yeah.
good.
It's like
That
the
is-
dealer leaving the table in Vegas, you know? Yeah.
Oh God.
Peace out.
Pulling the sleeves. Yep. I'm out.
No, thank you.
God.
Not what I expected.
Man or woman, what would that do to you, confidence-wise, mentally, emotionally? That's got to just be.
Yeah, it's not great, Bob.
I mean,
That
how do you recover from that? It's one thing to have that happen, like if you went on a blind date,
Yeah.
like I said with my friends, and the dude, let's flip it. Let's say the chick sees the dude from the parking lot. It's like,
Yeah. Well, you,
nope, I'm out.
you go hit the dive bar and find a 5.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But you know what I mean. Like, this is on TV for everyone to see.
That's fair.
Right?
That's the thing that I don't like. I have probably 10, 12 people in my life, whether tangentially related or relatively close friends, who have done relationship reality TV shows.
Oof, rough.
And
So you get the inside scoop.
I hear some of these stories and how it's done, and I'm just like,
How much of jerks these producers are.
why are you subjecting yourself to this? Like, I at least got it 15 years ago when it wasn't the most wholly scripted thing on the face of the planet. And it was back then, it was your foot in the door. Like you could become an influence, like an early stage influencer, or get onto other shows. Like I don't know if it made you famous, but at least made you notorious.
It put you on the map at least to be seen.
Yeah, like you could get something out of it. Now I'm just like you are just deprecating at every turn.
It's almost like the I will do absolutely anything for clicks mentality. And you know that's not, you kind of mentioned it as something that was maybe a little less controversial at the time. Now it's just like, okay, those people are bottom of the barrel. They'll just do anything.
It's terrifying. I don't do it. Like I did TV and it was reality, quote unquote, as sports, and we did things on there and I was like, oh God, did I really do that? That was not great. I have to live with that. That
Well,
lives on in infamy.
You also didn't have producers pushing you to be like, hey, say that crappy thing again for me. Come on, make
No,
an ass out of yourself.
No, they could just count on me to do that.
Oh,
that
okay.
was the difference.
Yeah, we don't need to be pushed to make asses out of ourselves. We do it on our own volition.
That's fair. I do it quite often.
Yeah, I would fall face first into it. I mean, I got my head shaved on live TV, which I mean, the pictures from that were not great. You did your mustache at least in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like they didn't shave you like a animal
Right.
on live TV.
Yeah. No, just like an animal in the bathroom. And then I had to sit here with a reverse Hitler for 3 hours.
He was pretty good. Looking back, would you have rather had the Hitler?
No.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
We had to catch you off guard with it.
Right?
It was funny because Dusty and I were both like, "What do you think?" I was reverse Hitler. Yeah, reverse Hitler.
Reverse Hitler.
Don't give him the full.
Well, because you can give it look, those were glorious handlebars on either side
They
of the
were.
face there. Yeah,
It
so,
looked like two thick caterpillars on your lip,
Yeah. It was
as
a good,
opposed to one
That's hot.
short, fat caterpillar.
it was a good
on your
one.
lip. Which, speaking of Hitler, started watching Masters of War, professional radio transition. How do you
Whoa.
like that? Speaking of Hitler,
I don't think, you know what? I can't.
I'll tell you what, that's not a transition you hear on radio all the time. Speaking of Hitler.
I came in today and that was about the last thing I expected to hear. There you go.
No, I started watching Masters of War, and we were talking before the show. Band of Brothers is probably my favorite thing ever created on TV, and it is the most tremendous piece of cinema I think I've ever seen. It is entirely perfect. I would change nothing about it. Masters of Air is it's not as good, but my God, is it good? And does turns out that Spielberg guy really good,
Knows what he's doing?
Yeah, he knows how to make a good movie.
right?
Yeah, he's done a couple of them.
Spielberg, Tom Hanks, they come together, they do some good stuff.
I mean, pointing to the work of geniuses, I'm not sure I can add to that. Like, yeah, they're
Mhm.
amazing. Everything they do, they greatness.
They managed to make dudes sitting in planes and getting shot down endlessly incredible. Like it's for those that are unaware of how air sorties or air missions worked in World War II, it was basically just rolling the dice every single time you went up, and you just anti-air and flak cannons. Also, understanding how terrifying flak must have been. Like I had to instruct pilots and air crew regularly on every single flight about anti-air threats, surface to air missile systems, radar, everything that goes into that stuff.
Brian Williams on any of your flights, by the way? MSNBC anchor?
No.
Noted liar?
No,
Just making sure.
did not make it on those. But
I
that
was
was
in that helicopter.
yeah. I had a lot of that. I mean, I had to do that. It was part of working as an intelligence briefing with aircrew.
Yeah.
And the last time somebody was shot down was 96, I believe. I think 96 was the last time we had an aircraft shot down in hostile territory. 96 or 99. It's been a long time. We've had aircraft shot down since. Just at that kind of point, it's kind of like, ugh. But these guys were going up every single time and just getting hammered, and they graphically portray like flak cannons going off. And for those that don't know what flak is, it's like bits and shards of metal, shrapnel shot up into the air in little puffs at varying altitudes to shred a plane's wings or to blow up in the aircrew's face. I mean, and they demonstrate that in a way you're just like, yeesh.
Meant to inflict max damage.
Yeah, it's nasty stuff. But yeah, Vancouver Ford text line asking if I watched the Pacific. I did. I watched the Pacific. I've seen some people say that they like the Pacific better than Band of Brothers, to which I say you're wrong. Opinions are factually incorrect. That's how these work. When I have the microphone, I'm going to go full Adam Sandler.
Yeah,
I have the microphone.
yeah.
Sir.
I am the captain now.
But no, the Pacific has done incredibly well as well, and this is again, each one has their own kind of offerings. But on the recommendation, I know it's not a movie, but it's a triple D, hands
Ooh,
down. It's,
triple D.
Yeah, it's absolutely perfect. I'm 5 episodes in, and I have cried, I don't know, 20 times.
Man,
20 times at least.
yikes!
Oh God!
Like that's a couple an episode.
Oh yeah,
That's what, 4 an episode?
Yeah, that's about right. About 4 times an episode.
Yikes!
Yeah, I mean, look, man, World War II was not great. Not great.
Really?
Turns out millions of people dying. Not great, but it was fantastic stuff so far. So if you're looking for something new to watch, that's the one that I've been diving into.
Hell yeah. I've been getting into, I finally finished Griselda. So all 10 episodes of that on Netflix.
That's the one with the super hot, like being dumbed down, right?
Sofia Vergara. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They found a way to make one of the 5 most beautiful women on the face of the planet look not like the 7th most beautiful woman on the planet.
And I
Still
did
spicy.
I love it when they're like, no, let's make her ugly. And like making her ugly is like leathering her skin a little bit. It's like, she's still built like a brick house. What are we doing here?
What, they didn't use the go-to and just throw some glasses on her too?
Yeah,
right?
no. Oh my God. What was God? What was the Freddie Prinze Jr. one with the
She's All That?
Yes.
Yes.
With it, just takes her glasses off and puts
Yeah.
down her hair. It's like, oh my God, look how hot she is.
Right.
It's like,
She looks the same.
yeah, she started out looking hot.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
No, Griselda was nice, but there was like almost.
That's vicious though. Like the assassinations and stuff like that.
It was crazy. But
My wife was again watching that, and I saw the.
okay.
I walked into the room for those, and I was like, "Oh, we're getting gritty. All right."
Yeah, you walked in right at the peak of the series.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always manage to do that to my wife too.
Yeah.
It's fun. But the entire series was good, minus I would say about an episode's worth of her just sitting there puffing on a cigarette. Just
We
seriously,
need more
minute
people
or
smoking
two.
in movies or in shows though, because nobody does it anymore.
No, I agree with you, but while they're actually doing something, just imagine a show. Let's just do a segment of Danny and Schultze here just puffing on a couple of cigarettes, and then just what's up?
Well, I
That's
failed to
it.
see the problem here.
I recently did a rewatch of I recently did a rewatch
right.
of True Detective. I
Stay
haven't started the
corrected.
new season yet, but I went and watched each of the first 3.
Oh yeah,
So many cigarettes.
is this a Quentin
in every
Tarantino like
season.
obsession?
Oh my God, so many cigarettes.
Somebody-
Just between Woody and McConaughey, and then you got Colin Farrell and Rachel McAdams, and then in the season 3 there's the oh gosh, I forget his name. I'm gonna
The
butcher
forgettable
it.
season. Mahershala Ali.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah, and even Stephen Dorff too.
Well, Dorff.
So many cigarettes every season.
Every scene in Blade,
Mm-hmm.
the first Blade movie, he's got a heater.
Well,
Yeah.
Dorff did like a blue vape commercial too, didn't he?
Yes.
He was like on a beach. He's like, "Yo, it's really cool to do what I do."
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah.
vape it.
The blue,
The blue,
glowing,
yeah,
fake
BLU.
cigarette. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah. Well, in season 2 of True Detective, I think was the one that really got pooped on a lot.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. In the rewatch, I think I enjoyed it more than I did the first time around.
Maybe, but I also
I'm also a big. I like Vince Vaughn though too.
I do too. I will never say anything about Vince Vaughn. I think it was more Colin on that one.
As far as smoking goes, though, I think the streaming services aren't governed the same way as like network television, so they can put like cigarettes in shows on Netflix and HBO way more than they can like on NBC and on even like FX. I
Well,
believe,
and what's
because
funny
of
is now
certain
when you get to
regulations.
the ratings on those shows, whether it's like TV 17 or TVMA, and the reasons why they put them on there is a lot, you'll have coarse language and nudity and adult content and smoking. Like
Do
that's
they
one of
have
the-
an actual smoking one now?
Yes.
Oh, on old Disney movies, if it's PG, it usually says because of like situations and smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Because
put that, like, in
Jafar's
the
sitting there
content.
hitting the hookah.
Exactly.
Jafar.
Getting high as a kite. I will rule you all.
Yeah, I'd be talking to a parrot too if I'm sitting there hitting that hookah for 6 hours in an opium den. What are we doing here? Yeah,
Come, Iago.
yeah, yeah. Why does that parrot sound like Gilbert Gottfried? I don't know. Hand me the opium pipe. I'll tell you. Like, no
Game
kidding.
of Wonders.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, that definitely sounds like how that movie got around. Was like, I don't know.
Everybody sitting around the hookah.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you see the talking bird? Yeah, I see the talking bird. I think we can work with that, dude. I think that carpet is flying.
Dude, you know who we should get for the genie? We should
Robin
get
Williams.
Robin Williams,
See,
man.
this is coming together way too easily. You know what else we should do? We should spell sex in the sand. They'll
Actually-
never see it.
Fun fact about Robin Williams in that movie is the genie. 1 4-hour recording session was all that took.
He went full Jay-Z,
Full one,
just one hitter.
and they literally worked around some of the lines that he
Yeah,
gave
he
in
just
that 4-hour
ad-libbed,
session.
and they just let him go.
yeah.
Yeah.
They loved it. Everything he did, it basically that movie was scripted almost around what he did in
Yeah,
that 4-hour
basically like
session.
outside of the song or songs. Yeah, it was all him.
Yeah,
Rest in peace, Robin.
that tracks.
Yeah. I mean, you got genius. You let the genius go.
Yeah, you just kind of let him go. I stumbled across his roast of oh my goodness, Richard Pryor.
Mhm.
Oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
my God, young Robin Williams roasting Richard Pryor.
Ooh, while he
was-
was still on cocaine.
Oh, buddy,
Right.
buddy. It's way more than George Carlin's 7 Things You Can't Say on TV. It was incredible. My goodness. Yeah. So, a lot of Vancouver Ford text lines right now is agreeing Masters Air really, really, really good. It's so if you're looking for something out there, Apple TV, fantastic stuff. Where we have to start though, we do have to sports, ladies and gentlemen, we do have to sports.
Yeah, we did have it. We've gone about 19 minutes of just squirrel here. Haven't
Yeah,
we?
well, I mean, like I said, well, I'm going to get it off the rails very quickly. The NFL Combine is getting underway. A lot of answers are a lot of questions are going to need to be answered at the quarterback position. That's how we'll start today's show on the air on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Underwear Olympics are officially underway at the NFL Combine. The thick boys are out running 40s right now. We just had the Texas defensive lineman Byron Murphy run a 4.88 at, I think he's listed at like 320 pounds, which that's terrifying.
Seeing soon-to-be multi-million-dollar athletes in their skivvies, basically looking chubby like the rest of us, makes me feel more confident as a human being.
Yeah, for every one of those, though, there's an Aaron Donald who has a six-pack at 315 pounds.
Running like a 4.7, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely, purely terrifying.
And then you get Captain Dad Bod Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, so the official weight on Byron Murphy, 312 pounds.
Oh, okay.
312 pounds running a 4.88 40.
That
My
should be
God.
like
That's terrifying.
illegal.
That's-
And he's not 312. He's got to be like 325. That's a low.
I
That's,
mean, they just got him on the scale.
well, okay. All right. That's
So they're at
that
the
is
combine.
the official.
So the official was 312. So, yeah, these. Oh my God, Trevondre Sweat is 6'4.5", 366 pounds. Yeah, that's a whole lot of human. You know who's not a whole lot of human? Most quarterbacks, with the exception, of course, Dad Bod Patrick Mahomes. I will get squirreled away by this combine endlessly because I am always fascinated by the absolute pure size of humans in professional sports. But there is now reporting coming out of New England, Mac Jones, Noodle Arm, is on the way out. On the way out. The Patriots are making their decision. According to MassLive.com, they have made their decision, and, well, he's gone.
Are we shocked?
Dun, 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 dun.
Mac has a noodle arm.
God, it's so good.
This
It's,
team blows.
this team blows.
Bigger
they do.
fraud than Lance Armstrong.
That guy in the beginning sounds like Bill Burr.
Mac has a noodle arm.
Tell me that doesn't sound like Bill Burr.
Right, exactly.
It 100%
It's
sounds
like,
like.
it's like that scene from the movie The Heat, you know,
Yeah.
with the
Are you not a knock?
Yeah.
I'm still mad. I'm still mad we didn't.
Narc.
Still mad we didn't ask him about that.
Right, exactly.
Because that had to be great.
I know.
But Gerard Mayo is well, they're not trying to hide what they're doing, which is Mac Jones is gone, and they're looking to get a veteran quarterback and take a rookie. That is the plan. Now, which rookie is going to be interesting? There are multiple mocks right now that have Drake May going number 2 to the Commanders, and dun 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 dun, Jaden Daniels falling to the Patriots, which for me at least, is fantastic because watching Dusty have to squirm over a quarterback for a long period of time as a Raiders fan would be a lot of fun. It would be very fun to watch Dusty have to deal with a LSU quarterback with a big arm that has a lot of issues. That selfishly for me, I would like to see that. But if you run down the list, the Patriots, quote unquote, have a plan in place. And this is all being put out by Mass Live, which means it's being put out by the Patriots for a purpose, which, again, this time of year, smoke season. So if you're Justin or Jordan, if you're looking at the Patriots right now, are you done with Mac Jones, or are you he can work as the bridge, or do you want him out, get the veteran guy in, and draft a rookie?
Well, with a new coach and a new offensive coordinator, I would hope that they get to pick their own guy. It's like when you hire a new regime running the team, Gerard Mayo, and a new GM in town. So why would they throw the old quarterback into that mix? No, get Mac Jones the hell out of town. I feel like even trading for Justin Fields at this point would be a better option for the New England Patriots. Obviously, they don't look like they have to do that, but I'd be interested to see if Jaden Daniels fell. We talk about like trading for Justin Fields. We've seen Atlanta at the number 3 pick connected to him because of the comments that Justin Fields has made about some of those guys and wanting to play with them, or how much he loves those guys on their offense. But I definitely think that there's no way that Mac Jones comes back. They would be so much better off just trying to start over. J.J. McCarthy, even. I'm not too high on him, but that would be a better option than Mac Jones at this point.
Yeah, and if you're kind of wondering where the Patriots staff may land on Mac Jones, well, this is new head coach Rod Mayo. In my mind, the most important piece is the quarterback. He touches the ball on every single play on offense. He touches the ball, distributes the ball. You want that leadership. You want that leadership from that spot. So to me, that's the number one priority. It appears that he thinks that they don't have that in place right now.
Yeah, reading between the lines. Not really reading between the lines, actually, at all. He's pretty much saying it, isn't he?
The interesting thing about this is that the Patriots are through this article and are floating out the idea of that bridge quarterback, getting a veteran
Like a Geno Smith type.
Or Joe Flacco is familiar with the organization. That's actually a name that's thrown in here. You know,
Okay.
comeback player of the year, Joe Flacco, ladies and gentlemen. But to work as a bridge quarterback, as a gap quarterback, in much the same way that Aaron Rodgers did in Green Bay, and then Jordan Love did behind Aaron Rodgers, in that they are not in a hurry to force a quarterback out there to develop because of what they just went through with Mac Jones.
I get that, but can New England actually be that patient? We're talking about Boston sports fan here. So Gerard Mayo doesn't, I mean, I'm sure he got a 5-year contract, but he doesn't have more than, a couple of years of goodwill from the sports fans and sports media there in that area before. I mean, those people are foaming at the mouth about their teams. I would not be shocked if they try to start all in. You can't really do that in New England. It's just not the market for it.
It's going to be interesting to kind of see how that shakes out because, number one, I don't see the Patriots as a team that look at Jaden Daniels historically. I get they want a big arm and they want to be more explosive, but I have a hard time seeing them as the team that goes and gets the dual threat quarterback.
Well, yeah, it doesn't really work traditionally in cold weather spots, right? I mean, that's why Chicago hasn't really had a dual threat until they got Justin Fields. It works with maybe more of a mediocre quarterback in the Super Bowl in the 80s with a great offensive line, with great wide receiver, or a great tight end to block, and then a great running back. So that's how that's how a lot of cold weather teams get it done. New England isn't going to do well with Caleb Williams or even a Jaden Daniels. That's why I say, I mean, we saw them get to the playoffs with a crappy Mac Jones because Bill Belichick was able to work him into his system and basically just do what he wanted to do. Belichick with the quarterback, and that was maybe let him throw 10 times a game and pretty much try to fool the defense the rest of the time. That's at least where I'm looking. J.J. McCarthy or somebody else, like you say, a bridge veteran. I don't like that option for their fans, but it's probably going to be a better fit for them offensive-wise than a dual-threat quarterback.
It's going to be interesting. This is just one of many stories, as there's already rumors and news and notes coming out of the combine of Michigan's J.J. McCarthy also skyrocketing up the board, which, oh, for the love of God, that's my hell. That'll be my cross to bear, I know, as a Raiders fan. That's the way things are going to end up going. So you don't have to send it into the text line. I'm aware. It's going to
I'm so sorry.
It's going to be bad.
Who are you guys going to throw out there next year?
Aiden O'Connell.
Oh, God. Good old stash.
That sweet Aiden O'Connell quarterback news. It's going to be great. God.
I'm excited for you.
Well, if you want to be excited.
The second best AOC.
Oh! Thank you, Rust. Shots fired.
Coming in next, we had Mike Barrett on with Isaac and Suk on Monday out at X Golf Tualatin. Also, David Sampson joined Dirt and Sprague this morning. There's some interesting news and notes coming out around not only MLB to PDX, but the restructuring and expansion in Major League Baseball, and we hit on those. But first, it's Big Kahuna with a Sports Center update.
Hamburger, the cornerstone of any nutritious breakfast.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on the Fan, not the Benny Hill theme, but the Trailblazers are off until tomorrow when they start a back-to-back with the Grizzlies in Memphis. The Trailblazers 15-42 on the season. That's the 5th worst mark in the association. Little NBA basketball this evening for you right here on the Fan. The Miami Heat at the Denver Nuggets. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock immediately following primetime. Shams Charania of The Athletic reporting the Atlanta Hawks waiving guard Patty Mills. And then on the Bluff this evening, the Portland Pilots hosting Santa Clara. That's a 6 o'clock tip. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 5:30. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
One number does it all for contests and texting your favorite fan shows. The Vancouver Ford text line is 503-864-6FAN.
I always shoot a bit of side eye at the thought of baseball coming to Portland with also a wide open arms, open heart. Please God, that would be so awesome. But it's been going on for the will they, won't they, the Rachel and Ross of it all for so long that I get why people go, okay, I don't believe it. I don't know.
Sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, but at the same time, I know this is going to be shocking to hear from some people. I am an optimist at heart? Question mark.
I think part of the problem is that it's the process as a whole, just by its own nature. It's not something. It takes a long time.
Yes.
To try to procure a professional sports franchise.
No matter what sport it is.
Right, exactly. And so part of the problem is that takes a long time, and we're with Twitter and everything, we're such a immediate gratification.
I
need news now.
Yeah, they
and
think
so that's part of the problem.
They think like the city of Portland can control this. No, this is Major League Baseball.
They can, and they've been problematic, which is part of this.
But ultimately, MLB still has to decide to put an expansion team in place.
Yeah, but the city has not been entirely helpful.
I not fighting back on that.
That's for sure. But Mike Barrett, who is on the MLB to PDX board group, whatever you want to call it,
the face of the movement.
Yeah, certainly. If not the face, certainly the voice.
Yes.
But he was on with Isaac Gasuk on Monday at X Golf 12 and live on location, and he had a couple thoughts on where things currently stand right now and where Portland kind of fits in with Salt Lake City or fits against, so to speak.
And if I'm Salt Lake, I don't want the A's to move to Vegas, because are they going to really put another team in the Mountain Time Zone, not that far from Salt Lake and Denver, and you have a cluster of three? When you look at the map and you look at baseball where there are teams, there is this massive hole out where we are.
Got one.
And, Commissioner Manfred talked, how long has it been? 5 years ago, talked about needing another team in the Pacific time zone in order when you're a commissioner, you're talking about time zones, you're talking about TV start times and first pitch times. And that's why I think that we are still, even though Salt Lake really has dialed things up and they have massive political support. And we've said from the beginning, you need to have we were told that. You need to have elected officials as your champions in this thing. So they've done a good job of dialing that in, and they're trying to seize some momentum.
Oh, no way. I mean, I don't think those are veiled shots. I think that's just Mike speaking about holistically. Portland as a city, commissioner group, government body, it sucks. It has sucked for my entire life.
They don't prioritize the right things.
I mean, you can stop at prioritize. You can stop it. Like,
well,
I don't care what political party you're in or what your beliefs are. This city.
No, I'm not going right.
Yeah, no. This city sucks on a government stand front, and I mean, it doesn't matter who's mayor. It doesn't matter who's on the commissioner. There's always a scandal. There's always some, misappropriation of funds. There's always something that takes longer to get something done. It is one of the least effective and efficient city groups in the country.
No, this has nothing to do with sports as far as inefficiency goes. I lived on the waterfront where the Zeidel family owns that entire group of land next to OHSU, that entire chunk. And they were going to develop that into like a huge restaurant, like hub for grocery stores, kind of a whole neighborhood south of John's Landing there. And then all of a sudden PDX started demanding things that Zeidel didn't want to do, some different environmental requirements. And there's like,
it's always the birds.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? We're done with you. You could have had our billions, and we're not going to give it.
And remind me, what's going on down there right now?
Nothing.
Yeah.
More crappy apartments that aren't filled, I'm sure, because they're too expensive.
Yeah. So, Mike's right on that front. The interesting thing about that is that Salt Lake does have a government and an ownership group that is forward or pushing things forward. But the flip side of that that's very true is that Major League Baseball has for years wanted another Pacific time zone team.
Yeah.
And Salt Lake doesn't give them that. So that's something that matters. The other thing that I hear pushed back on regularly, and this is I understand this because it's like, well, if you're serious about this, if MLB to PDX is serious about this, why can't we, as either fans or the media, why aren't we privy to know who the money is behind the group? David Sampson was on with Dirt and Sprague this morning, and he had a very interesting, or a little bit of insight into why ownership is not made public.
So it's totally up to you. If you want to know who the money is, then you won't get a team. And why do I say that?
Major League Baseball, the commissioner, and the owners who are going to be voting for which city gets expansion and then which ownership group gets it. They don't want people getting ahead of themselves and getting out there in public before they've got approval and before they've got a team. So the smart people around the country who want to own a team, they are very, very quiet.
I think this has a lot to do with the complete S show we saw play out with Chris Hansen and the ownership group in Seattle and the Sacramento Kings.
Can I quickly add, too, that Sampson knows what he's talking about? This was the David Sampson that ran the Miami Marlins under Jeffrey Loria, now is a media magnet. So no, he has dealt with Major League Baseball doing the transition from Florida to Miami. So he is one of the heads as far as like knowing how this works.
And he obviously knows people in higher circles in Major League Baseball and how this thing works. This is the big part about this, is understanding kind of, I don't want to say it's an excuse, because I don't think it's an excuse. I think there's real justification behind this. The other part of this, of course, is that Major League Baseball is going to do all of their due diligence because they don't want another John J. Fisher. They want owners that are going to contribute to the total part of the pie. And Sampson kind of alluded to, hey, this is also another reason why you might see Major League Baseball slow roll this.
However, what is way more important when you are looking at expansion is whether or not that city will be able to actually support a team and that you are not adding a revenue-sharing recipient. They want to add a revenue-sharing payor, or at worst, revenue-sharing neutral, but really you want a revenue-sharing payor. You want to make the pot bigger. You want to make it so there is more sharing of money, and that takes precedence.
That part right there. They want somebody contributing. They want Matt Ishbia coming in and going, here's my money. I'm in the second apron. Let me go ahead and spend. They want, the Bezoses of the world to buy teams.
Where are the guaranteed big bucks coming from?
Yes. They don't want the oh God, who's the cheap ass owner of the Orioles?
Merritt Paulson, maybe. A $100 millionaire.
Angelos.
The Angelos family. Like get them out of there. Yeah, no, you want Merritt Paulson's dad. That's for sure. You want the wealth fund manager types kind of being involved, but they don't want the Angelos family. They don't want the Bidwells, who have been incredibly cheap with the Cardinals. They don't want the wildly cheap John J. Fishers, because that's more people taking from the pie. They want people contributing to the pie. And this is not a let's go ahead and line our pockets with somebody else's money kind of situation. But it is to an extent. But also, nobody loses money on professional sports.
It's fair.
They don't.
I mean, in
a pandemic? Sure. But outside of that, you're not losing money.
But I would ask the question, because I do question the not validity of sports fandom here, but maybe the intensity of it at times. Can we get 2+ million fans into seats at a Portland baseball team, 81 games a year for games? Can we do that? Because that's what you're going to need to sustain it, and that's a legit question to ask. You're not going to sell it out, but I am worried that, people that are clamming for it aren't going to add up to that 2.2 million fandom that they're going to need through the turnstiles.
I think the thought was it was going to be like a 32,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So let's do
quick math.
Do quick math on the old calculator. 32,000 times 81, 2.6.
There you go.
So 2.592.
And that's just above, I believe, the middle of attendance in Major League Baseball from 2023.
So I think they can do it.
Okay.
I genuinely do. Whether or not, I mean, the other option is drive 3.5 hours.
Which, as you see,
I'm
willing to do. I'm wearing my Schulte Mariners jersey, but again, that's almost nobody else.
That was kind of my point. It's like, and that solves a lot of fan issues here as far as, when the Sonics went away, people, I think, thought, well, Seattle fans will become Blazers fans. That won't happen. But it's the same thing here. Portland fans, with the exception of some Mariners fans.
I'm just a baseball diehard.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, John Skanik is a huge Mariners guy as well, and obviously he's from on the other side of the river. So, but I think you as soon as you get on this side of the river, I don't think that's fandom that really Seattle can exploit. So,
That's one of the things that's always driven me nuts about these expansion talks is
Mhm.
is impinging on another team's quote unquote territory.
And don't get it twisted though. The Seattle Mariners don't want a team here.
Right? No, I absolutely
don't.
But what kills me, go hit the northeastern part of the country, right? And all of the teams that are
The 12 teams in a 4-state area.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but do you have anywhere over there where you have to drive 3.5 hours to go to your nearest big league ball club?
God, no.
No, you don't. And so
You drive 3.5 hours, you're going across like 12 states.
right, exactly. So I hate how we are regarded as Seattle Mariners territory, and it's like almost untouched. That's
Well, we're Seattle Mariners TV territory right now,
crap.
so technically we are.
well, yeah,
But I
because
hear
that's-
you. You're
because
right.
it's the only thing that's close. It's
Yep.
the only that's remotely close. But to say like no, we have a hard time wanting to put a team in Portland because it's Mariners territory, 3.5 hours away. It just
Well,
you
the
got
Mariners
you got
aren't
a
big
couple teams in New
spenders.
York. You got Boston. You got Philly. You got Pittsburgh. You can't swing a dead cat and go 3 hours anywhere in the Northeast without hitting 4, 5, 6 other baseball teams.
Yeah. So I think there's those opportunities are there for kind of figuring that out going forward. Look, I am of the mindset of I want to believe, but I will not believe until they secure the land. If they secure the land, whether it's Red Tail or whether it's on the waterfront or whatever it is, whatever version of this kind of comes out, then I'll kind of go, okay, I get where we're going with this. But until then, it does feel like a bit of a pipe dream.
Do you think at that point they will reveal maybe who ownership is or who's behind this if they do get a deal for land? Because
I think so.
I feel like at that point you kind of are required to start putting some
Once
faces
once you're putting $50 million
to these
down,
projects, yeah.
now you're doing that because MLB has kind of greenlit you.
I got you.
Like you're not just going to spend that money and be like, well, now what?
We're hopeful.
So, like, I mean, the whole like, well, it's a land grab, and it's like, is Red Tail really a land grab? Like, I look at that again. Selfishly, I have my own reasons. Like, I have property that would butt up against it.
Right.
Like, full disclosure.
Yeah.
So, like, when I look at that, I'm like, if it is a land grab, like, what are they doing there? Like, because the city of Portland owns it, and they still own. Like, if they don't zone it, if they don't change the zoning on it, like, how is it really a land grab?
Well, and the other thing is too is that while the ownership situation might be a mystery to all of us, when it comes like to Major League Baseball and the league, it's they know.
Yeah.
I'm sure they know. They have to. I mean,
They're not
They
having
know.
those talks without somebody with
Yeah.
8 zeros behind their bank
right.
account.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, well, we'll see where it goes. It's at least interesting to hear that there are things quietly moving forward. Speaking of quietly moving forward, we got some dates as it pertains to the Oregon Ducks, the spring game and the pro
Hell
day
yeah.
coming up actually very quickly. We'll get to that more coming up here on Danny and Dusty today, the fan. The Oregon Ducks have announced their two big upcoming dates. March 12th and March 14th. March 12th will be the Oregon Ducks Pro Day. Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, Jackson Powers Johnsons, and others will be out there participating, throwing, running, catching, doing all the things that they're likely not doing at the Combine. Bo Nix, I believe, is doing some stuff, just not everything. I don't believe he's throwing.
Not the important stuff.
So J.J. McCarthy is throwing.
Wow.
Caleb Williams showing up for interviews. Drake May showing up for interviews. Jaden Daniels showing up for interviews.
Throw, you guys.
Top
You're
quarterbacks.
wussies.
Top quarterbacks not throwing.
Yeah, that's wuss mentality.
Eh.
I get it. There's no reason to do
there's-
anything to hurt yourself,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
it's just so
that's
stupid.
all it can do. That's all it can do is hurt their stock.
Particularly Caleb and Jaden, your Heisman Trophy winners. Just
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
Jaden doesn't want to expose the fact that he's actually not as good as maybe people think he is.
he's got a
Shocking.
longer wind up in person, or doesn't have some touch, or whatever
Likes
it
to
is.
run straight back.
Yeah, it's just there's, and you can see for whatever reason that you want, you can find some. I'm doing my draft tape for the NBA right now, and going through it last night, I found myself nitpicking Alex Sarr to death.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, I need to stop this. This guy's might be a likely number 1 overall pick. I need to back off. But that's where you get when you get at the very top of the draft. They're there because they're great. So you're trying to find any reason to find separation. So you just don't give that opportunity. March 14th is going to be the Ducks spring game. I believe there's discussions about who is going to air that because they're moving to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So won't they be on the Big Ten network?
That would be so
I would
cool.
think so.
Question mark?
Right.
Shrug?
I saw a license plate, and kudos to this person that has already taken this off of the registry for personalized Oregon license plates. B1GDUX, Big Ducks. It was a blue Tesla. Shout out to you. I saw you yesterday.
Oh, no way. A Tesla with a vanity
personal
plate?
Oh, you
Yeah.
got $300 to get a Ducks vanity plate. Of course you do. But I love the combination. They already have the big Big Ten Ducks license.
Before
plate.
anybody busts my
Did it
balls,
catch on fire?
my
No.
vanity plate came with my car. Okay?
That's ridiculous. You are the luckiest man alive that a blazing vanity plate came with your
Yeah,
car.
it was when I showed up to buy it, I was like, this can't be real.
It's like God shined upon you.
Oh, look,
Danny, here
don't
is
pee
your
on my
car.
shoes and tell me it's raining. You knew it had the plate when you showed up to
No, I did
Come
not.
on now.
No, I did not. I had no idea. Absolutely no.
conspiracy theory.
I had absolutely no idea. In the ad, the license plate was blanked out.
All right.
So
That's fair.
I showed up out there, and he opens up the garage, and he had like 3 cars. One of them, hilariously, was a Tesla.
Of course.
Also with a vanity plate, and he also in his garage had like 15 different vanity plates. So
Oh,
he's
nice.
he's a vanity plate guy.
Apparently.
But yeah, when I showed up, it had the vanity plates for Blazin on it, and the Trailblazers plates, and I was like, I feel like this is a little too on the nose, but it was a deal during COVID that I got for like $7,000 below sticker. So
Ooh, on a used car, that's like impossible to find.
this was again right at the very beginning of COVID.
Okay.
Before we realized that the electronics prices were going to go through the roof. But yeah, those are your upcoming Ducks dates. Important Ducks dates to know. I'm sure Dusty will be down there working sidelines for the Oregon Ducks spring game, where you're going to get your first look, I would imagine, at Dylan Gabriel. Question mark.
We better. And I'm excited to see the young, hopefully freshman wide receivers like Gatlin Bear, like Pelham coming in. I want to see what these guys will do implementing themselves with new quarterback Dylan Gabriel. And since it's the spring game, you'll get a chance to see what they do with Dante Moore as well. So I am fascinated at what the future of this offense is going to look like.
I'm not sure. Is Achilles Smith Jr. on campus yet?
Not that I've heard, but I could be totally misinformed on that. I thought that Moga was already,
Yeah.
but I don't know about Achilles Smith Jr.
Okay, so they're just there's a lot of interest and intrigue over the next 2 weeks away now. Today's the 29th.
Gosh,
'cause
yeah.
today's
Wow.
you know what we didn't know about today's show. We didn't mention today is a day that only happens once every handful of years.
And Achilles Smith Jr. just named the nation's #1 dual threat quarterback.
There you go. So it's all coming up. It's all coming up good. It's all coming up green for the Ducks. Is that what it
Green
is?
roses. There are green roses.
There we
They
go.
make those
We'll go
now.
with that. So there you go. You get your opportunities to see your Ducks before things obviously get packed up for the spring, and you start working your way towards summer workouts and summer ball, and then but God, we'll be into We'll be into football season again already.
And thank you to the text line for correcting me that Gatlin is on a mission for 2 years. Totally forgot that. So, no, we're not going to see him for 3 years, but there are other young receivers that we're going to be able to see and some transfers that I'm excited to implement.
So there you go. So there's your Ducks news for today. When we come back, we'll get into hour number 2. Damian Lillard sat down with Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated to talk about life in Milwaukee. We'll dive into that and more coming up here on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Hour number 2 here on Danny and Dusty on a Thursday afternoon. Jordan Schultz in for Dusty here. Jeff Rust behind the glass. Wherever you're listening on 1080 The Fan, AM radio, or watching youtube.com/1080 AM The Fan or twitch.com/1080 AM The Fan. We appreciate you. Love you. You can be a part of the show, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on YouTube, or on the Vancouver Ford text line, 503-864-6326. This article came out from Chris Mannix and Sports Illustrated after a sit down with the Milwaukee Bucks' Damian Lillard and his transition to Milwaukee after 10 plus years in Portland, Oregon, obviously being traded September 29th, going into the season right before training camp is set to get underway for the 2023-2024 NBA season, being paired with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, Brooke Lopez, and a new head coach in Adrian Griffin to start things off, and just how different things were going to be. And it's interesting kind of taking a look at this. Anytime we see big star trades, whether it's the Heatles, whether it's Kevin Durant going to OKC, there's always this thought process of things working instantly. And I bring up the Kevin Durant one because it's different than the Heatles, because the Heatles come together and it takes a couple years. Kevin Durant and Kyrie and James Harden, it was a disaster because it never really came together. Kevin Durant joined an established core of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Steve Kerr. The pecking order was known. It was established. And then everybody kind of deferred to prime KD. Going to Milwaukee with a first-time head coach and a new staff while trying to integrate with Giannis Antetokounmpo at the peak of his powers is not proving difficult, but it is more difficult than I think both sides imagined it was going to be.
I mean, you're moving to the middle of the country where it's cold, nothing really going on. Your family's not there with you. You've now changed head coaches in the middle of the season. That's about as much tumultuous happenings in your life on top of the divorce that he's going through. I mean, personal stuff aside, just trying to move and deal with living in one spot while your kids are in another, have something going on where you're literally traveling around so you don't really feel like you're ever at home in Milwaukee to begin with, probably. I mean, I read some quotes from that. Dude literally goes home to watch YouTube at night. He watches boxing clips on YouTube and then goes back to practice because he is so lonely. I feel terrible for Damian Lillard.
And that's the thing is that, without getting into the personal stuff of the part of this, is that he is away from his kids now.
Yeah.
And I know directly that it is bothering him. It has been problematic for him. It has been something that has eaten him up. This is a guy that, he's kind of fueled by his family and his kids, and he's in a big house in Milwaukee.
He brought everybody to Portland with him originally. I mean, it's obvious
his mom,
he's a good
his brother,
guy.
his cousins, everybody's around. Talking to him over the years, it was always loud when we were on the phone because there was always people in the background.
A lot of love, and that's good. And he's missing that, obviously.
And that's the thing is he's in a big house. He's took over the house of a former player with him and a cousin who's there occasionally, and that's about it. Yeah. That's a stark difference.
In the winter, in the snow, you literally can't leave your house in Milwaukee unless you've got a snowplow, pretty much. You got to go Jeremy Renner status and not run over yourself to get somewhere.
It's an interesting proposition of where he's at right now, and I always try to humanize even the multi-million-dollar athletes like Damian Lillard, who's worth probably more than $500 million.
Yeah,
because there's no amount of money that fixes that.
No.
There's no amount of money that fills that hole, that fills that empty space, that helps that loneliness. It's just the old adage of money doesn't solve everything. It's true. And while it does make your life easier, it brings its own burdens along with it.
Money always, just because you don't have problems revolving around money, you still have other problems in your life. Two things can be true. You can be rich and still have issues going on in your life.
So there's the family portion or the lack thereof for Dame out in Milwaukee is problematic for him. And I think that fed into, I very much believe that it fed into his slower start and how he's kind of played this season. That's been a big adjustment, but also a first-time coach and a new staff that they didn't know what they were doing. And they had to kind of feel things out and understand and work through things. And, I heard through the entire process that Adrian Griffin was going to get fired.
Yeah.
He just wasn't going to last. I think I said around Thanksgiving, if this lasts beyond Christmas, I'll be shocked. He lasted a little bit longer, but eventually he was on the way out.
Well, just imagine, too, you go to a new place with a guy in Terry Stotts, a familiar voice that you worked with basically your whole career that got you there. And then what? Not even 2 weeks in to training camp, he quits. So very abruptly, that kind of good feeling that you thought you had in Milwaukee just goes away. So even to begin with, it's just a tumultuous start from Portland to Milwaukee. Trying to transition didn't obviously go so well for him. So you just look at not only off the court stuff, but on the court and the problems within the Milwaukee Bucks locker room. I mean, they're still having issues winning right now. And when you ain't winning, it's not fun. And then you go home to an empty house, you think about not winning even more, I would assume.
Well, and that just goes to show you exactly how probably, I don't want to say toxic the locker room was or the culture around there, but something was obviously seriously wrong, because with Damian Lillard just coming in, that had to weigh heavily on Terry Stotts before he decided to be like, you know what, I'm out. I can't do this. You know what I mean? I would think that
yes, they still had a very
probably
good
made it a
relationship.
tougher decision
Yeah.
for him than it would have been if Damian Lillard were not.
If Dame's
a
not
Buck.
there, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, and I think that's part of it. It's clearly, that was a not, if not one, 17 red flags for Adrian Griffin to start, that a beloved coach and relationship with Damian Lillard was foiled in the first 2 weeks. That's it's not great, Bob.
Right. Well, and
That's
especially especially when it's a first-time head coach and you've got a guy who's been in the game as long as Terry Stotts.
A
has.
literal title-winning head coach.
Do not yell at that man. Let him finish the conversation about his best. Like, he knows offense. He helped the Mavericks win a championship. Maybe let him coach Giannis before he comes over to the huddle.
Yeah, it's so.
Or maybe let him coach the guy that he coached for a decade, basically,
Yeah, no kidding.
to help fit him into the system
Yeah.
there.
Pipe down, Adrian Griffin. Let the guy that you hired do his job. Like that would have been probably, to be honest, a career saver had he leaned on Terry Stotts more.
That's what I thought he was brought in to do.
Yeah,
was to lean on his knowledge.
But also, first-time head coaches, they have, and rightfully so, a fear that a veteran coach behind them is the dude who's going to replace them as soon as they get fired.
Some guys end up like Doc Rivers, and some guys end up like Earl Watson. It just the way that it goes. Are you smart enough to not only know how the game is played, but to coach your guys correctly? You're coaching men here, and then all your other head coaches, assistant coaches, some of them were already head coaches, and obviously we know Griffin could not handle that dynamic for a week.
Well, and the thing, and first-time coaches and younger head coaches and whatnot, they know most of the time they need somebody with experience behind them to help them run things and keep things together and be a glue guy. And so, to me, it was always just, I found it weird that Stotts bounced so quickly. Something was seriously wrong there.
And that's the thing is that, Mannix asked Damian Lillard about that. Terry Stotts' exit in the preseason shocked everybody. He played 9 years for him. How did that affect you? Dame goes on to say, I think when Terry left, that part of it, the familiarity of what we were doing, it kind of left with him. Now I'm like, okay, what's this play? I was kind of in the figuring it out stage. So when you really don't know stuff like the back of your hand, it's hard to direct traffic and tell people, I want you right here or there. Point guards, especially veteran point guards, we play the game differently than a young, talented point guard. We are just manipulating everything. It's hard to do for a team and yourself when you're just trying to learn. And he's highlighting some very important things. Is that I talked about this, I want to say about last week or 2 weeks ago. It's a very subtle but very simple thing. Damian Lillard likes to come down the floor on the right-hand side. Giannis Antetokounmpo likes to come down the floor on the right-hand side. Figuring out who's going to trigger the offense and be on that side of the floor, that takes time. I've talked to veteran players and asked, how long it takes for you to kind of feel this stuff out. And while some people are like, that should only take a couple days, couple games, couple weeks, couple months. Years is the answer that I've received. Over and over and over again to get the intrinsic feel. And Mannix asked Damian Lillard about kind of what his anticipation was when he got traded there. He said, I thought we would be kind of like where the Celtics are right now. In that they had the established core, but the pecking order didn't need to be figured out. Like bringing in Kristaps Porzingis, like he's not going to be above Tatum. No, everybody knows that because of Tatum's two-way play. Some nights Kristaps will be above Jalen, some nights he won't, but it's an easier fit. Giannis, I think, is at the point of like wanting to show that he's got a bag still. I'm much more than modern era Shaq. And I think that has kind of played instances of hesitancy from Giannis. And from what I understand, Dame has kind of stepped back and like let Giannis be Giannis. But there's been a full court press from the press in interviewing both Dame and Giannis about how both are saying Dame needs to do more. Dame needs to take over. Dame time needs to be the fourth quarter. He is brought in to be the offensive guy.
Yeah.
Giannis, as great as he is, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer already. He's MVP, Finals MVP, title winner. He's going to go down as a top 15 player of all time. He's going to go down ahead of Damian Lillard. That's unquestioned. But the one quote-unquote weakness is where and how effective he can be in the half court throughout the regular season and in the playoffs. That's where Damian Lillard shines. So getting that integration and figuring that part of it out, that is the thing that has caused, I don't want to say consternation, but they haven't been seamless or as seamless as you would think they would be. And I don't think it's because of anything inherently bad, but you do have two first ballot Hall of Famers that it's not ego, but it's trying not to supplant somebody and trying to fit in a way that makes sense that you can't just force to work.
Well, also, you get down to that offensive side of the ball for Milwaukee, and Damian Lillard, new point guard for them, he's one of the best pick-and-roll point guards of all time, right? You could tell that as soon as he got to Milwaukee, trying to get that worked with Brook Lopez and Giannis, doing a pick and roll after working with LaMarcus his first couple of years, and then basically settling in with Nurkic. I mean, Dame really hasn't had to learn many other play styles or try to learn the pick and roll with any other players. This is the first time in his career, really, that he's doing so. And when Nurkic got traded from the Nuggets, it seemed within 5 games they were seamless. I don't know if it was just Nurkic like buying into what Dame does, and you're kind of talking about, well, Giannis, you know, he's a top 15 of all-time player, Hall of Famer. He's going to go above Dame. So no, he's not really just going to fall into what Dame wants to do. And Brook Lopez certainly isn't either, because he's a much higher paid center in the NBA, been around a bit longer than Yusuf. So yeah, these guys implementing into Dame's play style, it just, even now with 24 games left in the season, I don't think they can run the pick and roll like Dame could in Portland.
No, and that's the thing is there's an understanding, and Dame highlights that as well. He discusses how, you know, if the early stages of Jokic and Nurkic with Jamal Murray, like trying to figure things out there and how those things worked and developing it where they are now, they don't even have to think. It's just all based on feel.
Just there, yeah.
Dame and LaMarcus, over 3 years, they basically ran the same play, and it wasn't, I keep saying play. They ran the same action, and it's not a play. They're not trying to get this exact thing. They're saying, we know what we can do, and we have a counter to your counter to your counter to your counter.
It was one of the best two-man games at the time in the NBA.
And that's the thing is, like, but they knew, okay, if I set the screen here and they trap, I know I'll hit you here. Or if they're gonna come at this angle, I'm gonna escape to the right this way, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw a rat pass to you here. If they drop, I'm gonna hit you here. If both play under, which dumb, I'm gonna pull for 3. Like they didn't. There was no talking it through. It's a symbiotic relationship. Everybody's on the same page, and that's why I'm saying it takes years to have that fundamental understanding. And I truly believe that this is the best pick and roll pairing in the NBA. It's the best 1-2 pairing. Jokic is the better player than Giannis. Dame is the better player than Jamal Murray. So I think that the distance between the two, I lean towards the Giannis Dame pairing. But where Jokic and Murray have the upper hand is in that experience, in that feel, in that intuition. So it's gonna be interesting to see just how far they can take that relationship as they get ready for the playoffs.
And not only that, but you bring up the connection between Murray and Jokic. The willingness by Jokic to just pass the ball first. He doesn't have to shoot. You're just talking about Giannis. Like, no, he needs the ball. So Jokic is much more willing to give it up to Murray. And that, I think, makes it much more of a relationship comparable to what Dame and Yusuf or Dame and LA had.
It's going to be really interesting. Again, I don't want to go through the entire article because it's a lot. But again, Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated sat down with Damian Lillard, and they dive into a ton. It's a couple thousand words for you to dive into to kind of get an understanding of where Dame's at, where the Bucks are at, and Dame's and Giannis' relationship on and off the floor. I will just say as a side note and anecdotally, Dame and Giannis have wanted to play with each other for years. Like Dame told me, 5-6 years ago, when I asked him just, shooting it back and forth, like, who's the guy that you want to play with? It was always Giannis. And he goes, we talk.
The conversation's going.
There was always like some, like, I'm trying to get him here. I'm trying to get him here. I want him to come here. Like, so that I don't think it's a personal thing. I think stylistically, it's just trying to find those right levers, and you're gonna run into walls. I'm still going to put my money on that. But coming up next, Caitlin Clark is breaking records over and over and over again. We'll keep an eye on her going forward as she sets for #1 all time here on Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. Indianapolis, Caitlin Clark is at it again. She's breaking more records. She has now broken the women's major college record for scoring. After passing Kelsey Plum as the #1 NCAA scoring record, she knocks off major college scoring record along her way in her path to becoming men's and women's college basketball's all-time leading scorer with only Pete Maravich remaining. She is absolutely freaking incredible. I don't care where you stand on men's basketball versus women's basketball, blah, 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 blah. Did we mention it on air? The whole sticker on the floor thing? Is that what did we talk about that on there yesterday, Rust? The Caitlin Clark shooting location?
Oh, no, no, we didn't.
I think it was off air, right?
Yeah, it was off air.
So there, Iowa social media threw a sticker on the floor from where she pulled up and just absolutely banged that three from to set or to break Kelsey's scoring record, which was a Lillard-esque three, and she scored 8 straight points to open the game to break that record. Now, was that against Nebraska? I think is what it was. But regardless, her teammates lined up to shoot from there, and the number of bricks they put up was hilarious. It was horrendous across the board. Then Caitlin Clark walked up and casually hit it again.
Yeah, Logo Clark. Let's go.
She is an all-time scorer shooter. She doesn't play defense. Do not get it confused.
Once again, Logo Clark. She's just like Dame as far as the non-defense goes.
Now, did I read the other day too that she thinks that the sticker was misplaced? It's not in the right spot.
Look,
what, too close?
I would imagine people like that know that stuff intricately. Like Dame's brain is a computer. I would talk to him after games about particular plays, late at night talking about film, whatever it was, and I would say one thing. He'd like, no, it was this, and this, and he would remember inch by inch, foot by foot, kind of exactly. Like,
I don't remember what I ate last night.
The people like that in sports have savant-like brains, and it would not surprise me in the least bit if Caitlin Clark was the latest in that line of people. But she is online and on pace to break Pete Maravich's record, and the get-in price, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think the cheapest get-in-the-door ticket for that game is?
I'm going to go $300. I'm going to throw solid $3 bills out there.
Yeah, I was going to guess probably like 3-4.
Almost double it.
No.
$538. Wow.
We're talking like playoff tickets.
The old Nate Silver, huh?
Yep, there you go.
That was almost how much it was to get into a Seattle Mariners playoff game for 17 innings last season.
Record-breaking stuff, man.
Whoa.
And she's got social media juice behind her. So it's Vancouver Ford text line. Could she have beaten Steph Curry in the three-point contest? Yes.
Possibly, yeah.
The same way Sabrina could.
Almost could, yeah.
Yeah, so, and again, Caitlin Clark is that kind of shooter. Like, it's just...
Can I be a little bit of a jerk, though, regarding that? What if Steph used the WNBA ball, which I believe is half an inch diameter smaller, wouldn't it be easier for him?
Yes.
So, is this really an equal competition?
Well,
I'm not trying to go like, oh, women are worse. What I'm trying to say is this an actually equal competition?
It's different.
Now, part of what Kenny Smith got roasted about was...
Which I don't think he was trying to be...
Right. Well, so here's the thing. So I didn't watch it, but did she use the men's ball and also shot from the men's line?
Women's ball, men's line.
Women's ball, men's line.
Okay.
He had men's ball, men's line.
Now, I understand that maybe he kind of stumbled over what he was trying to say a bit and maybe didn't put it out in the way that he meant to. But in my mind, and I'm going to go ahead and assume what I think Kenny Smith was trying to say, was that, and him trying to say that she should have used the women's three-point line, you have that distance in your head. That's part of your muscle memory.
Yeah.
Right? You know that shot.
Unless you're a freak like Steph or Dame, where
where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just like it's math.
So and look, she was in a no-win situation anyway, really, because even if she had shot from the women's line, they'd be like, oh, well, it's because
she shot from the women's line.
She was using the women's ball and she was shooting from closer.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a lot of
It's not like for like.
They put up so many shots. Thousands and thousands of shots over their lifetime, hundreds a day.
The perfect thing to call out was, remember the in-season tournament court, the Mavericks court. They did not use it because the 3-point line was off by about a half inch.
Right. Yeah.
And it was because one of the players was shooting was like, what the hell? This feels off. This feels wrong. And they got the tape out and they're like, can't use the floor because it's off.
Yeah, and that's exactly my point with Sabrina. It's because it's just she's taken so many shots from that exact distance, and you push it out a touch more, and it changes things.
That's not touch. I mean, it's like a foot and a half more.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not insubstantial.
So like while Kenny Smith may have been clumsy about what he said, I think the point of it was he wasn't trying to. The point of it was not to try to denigrate her.
No, I don't think he was at all.
So that's
Well,
yeah.
And then even further on this nice text coming into the Vancouver Ford text line, ball size matters. Haha, that's what she said. You get accustomed to it, give Steph a woman's ball, and I bet it'll take him a little bit of time to get used to it. I remember back in
I don't think so.
no, high school, middle school, high school, you could feel the difference. I have tiny hands, y'all. Look at the YouTube stream. Tiny hands. I could feel the difference between a men's basketball and a women's basketball, and it
Burger King
was.
burgers all I'm seeing right now.
Old tiny hands Trump over there,
Look at them, they're so big.
just to do his double dance.
But you could tell the difference, but even holding with my tiny hands the damn basketball for women's versus men, and it was slightly easier to put it in the hoop. In fact, there was one game, I believe my entire team knew we had a women's ball. We didn't say anything because it was easier to shoot with. But I'm not trying to say, oh, women versus men, they're better, or this one's better. I'm trying to say there's still a couple of questions for me regarding that three-point competition. That's all.
And breaking news: Caitlin Clark is now entering the WNBA draft.
Oh, I'm shocked.
She will be the number 1 overall pick. in
Dun,
the draft.
dun, dun, dun,
So,
dun, 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 dun,
The
dun.
Indiana Fever hold the number 1 overall pick. So from Iowa to Indiana, a little Midwest legend right there.
There we go.
So Caitlin Clark has an opportunity this weekend to break Pete Maravich's record. The interesting thing, and it's brought up on the text line, is remember Pete Maravich did this without a 3-point line.
That's a very good point.
It's a lot of twos.
And a lot of twos and no shot clock, I believe, either.
And also did it in less games because freshman eligibility was not a thing when he was in college.
Well, I saw that. Yeah, he did it in considerably fewer games.
83 games.
But
yeah.
also, what was the thing I saw? She's done it on 20 attempts a game, whereas he did it on 38 attempts per game.
My man was not leaving
Yeah.
shots unfound.
There's a reason why
Got him up.
There's a reason why they called him Pistol Pete. He was gunning.
Yeah.
He averaged 44.2 points per game, though. So 38 shots, 44 points
Still
a
a
game.
point per possession. That's pretty good. All right, coming up next, it's our worst day on the web. And I'm actually still deciding between two because they're both terrible. But I think I'm going to lean towards the one Jeff Russ put in here because it's absolutely insane and unhinged. But first, here's the Big Kahuna Sports Center update.
That's that Hawaiian burger joint.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on the Fan, the Trailblazers off until tomorrow night when they start a back-to-back with the Grizzlies in Memphis. They're currently 15-42 on the season, the 5th worst record in the league. We've got a little NBA basketball this evening for you right here on the Fan. The Miami Heat at the Denver Nuggets. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock immediately following primetime. Shams Charania of The Athletic reporting the Atlanta Hawks waiving guard and former Trailblazer Patty Mills. And then this evening over on the Bluff, the Portland Pilots hosting Santa Clara. 6 o'clock tip. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 5:30. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Your favorite fan shows are on YouTube. Mash the subscribe button and like us for live streaming video and 1080 The Fan on demand.
It's 1:30, so it's time for our worst day on the web. And I have one that I've got queued up for tomorrow. But Jeff Russ found this one. I don't know how many people are aware or remember Chiefsaholic, the Chiefs super fan that went on a supposed bank robbing spree.
What? I missed this.
Yeah, apparently he was fairly prolific. Like, it wasn't just like a robbery or a couple. There was, I think, even a string undersells it.
So he was in courts. This is the guy that used to, if you're wondering, remember the old cartoon wolf that had his eyes like bulge out of his head? Auga! Like that kind of a cartoon wolf mask. That was how he used to show up to Kansas City Chiefs games.
My God.
Well, in late 2022, he went missing only for fans to realize he had been arrested for armed bank robbery.
Oh, really? Like actual armed bank robbery?
Yeah,
Okay.
like an actual
This isn't a joke.
bank robbery. His real name is Xavier Bobadar.
I always thought Xavier was a sexy name. So
I mean, it is, but also Xavier Bobadar sounds like a soap opera star.
yeah, from Days of
Yeah,
Our Lives,
right?
Xavier Bobadar.
Yeah, he's the villain. He's the guy right alongside Stefano.
Yes, exactly. That guy on Wednesday, yesterday, pled guilty to a string of armed robberies that resulted in more than $800,000 being stolen to fuel gambling debts.
My God.
So remember, we played the Shane Gillis skit earlier this week.
Yeah, here's your sign.
Yeah, the very large the Saturday Night Live skit based on betting on your friends.
Yeah, Rock Bottom Kings.
Rock Bottom Kings, where you can bet on your friends which one is most likely to do something incredibly degenerative to go out and pay gambling debts. This
Parlay how they will ruin their life.
one, yeah, and this one I feel like this has got to be at least like plus 2,500.
$800,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Also, at the same time, you would think, I guess, we are a cashless society now. So even though banks are required to at least have $10,000 on hand, you must have hit a lot of banks that didn't have a whole lot of cash on hand.
Well, now
800,000 just doesn't sound like that much.
yeah, so this is literally like old school. I went into a bank with a gun and robbed the vault. That's crazy to me. I don't hear of this as often anymore.
No, and as crazy as this is, his lawyer had absolutely unhinged comments in the opening arguments, or I should say, the opening comments of the closing
Yeah,
arguments.
I think this was a statement outside like the courthouse.
Oh,
basically,
this
on
is
the
going to be
steps.
good.
From the beginning of this case, folks, the government has been blitzing, and Xavier's pocket was collapsing. But today, Xavier stepped into the pressure. He took responsibility for his actions. He stood up in court, humble and repentant, and admitted what he had done. Now, if I know anything about Xavier, and if the Chiefs Kingdom knows anything about Chiefsaholic, we know that he doesn't give up. We know that if he stumbled and he fell, he didn't let his knee touch the ground. And that's because he's capable of doing a great thing. And he knows that there's still hope. We still have a lot of work to do on his case, but Xavier wants everyone to know that he loves the Chiefs Kingdom, he loves Kansas City, and he hopes that you'll rally to his support. Thank you and God bless.
There's not a chance in hell that if I played that and said this was from Saturday Night Live that you would not believe that.
Yeah, that's fair.
That is absolutely unhinged. And I hear the knee not touching, and I'm like, Dutch
Yeah.
fans are gonna get triggered by that.
Michael Dyer was down. What I love, and it rings true of a different meme, of which, well, anyway, I'll allude to it and y'all can put it together. I love how in there he says, and he never gives up. He just pled guilty in court. He literally just gave up.
I cannot stand the defense attorneys. It's like after he's like, you know what, this guy's contrite. He has owned up to his mistake. You mean doing what you're supposed to do in life? Yeah, what you're giving him is like a freaking medal. Stop.
It's like the never surrender thing with, except they're using his mugshot. Guess what? That picture is from him surrendering. He never gave up until he pled guilty.
Yeah, he fought till the end.
And literally gave up.
Oh, no, wait, he's still fighting. No, he's not. He's in jail.
My lord.
I don't even know what to do with this. I'll be honest. Like, also, how many different ways can he say Xavier?
Xavier.
Xavier,
Xavier, Xavier.
Xavier, and
Xavier.
Xavier.
That's the one that always drives me nuts. Is the Xavier? It's not Xavier. Xavier.
I always screwed up.
Oh
that
no,
way.
it's Xavier. We're talking about Professor.
That is, yeah,
Professor
yeah.
Xavier.
Xavier. That's. I think that's why I screwed up.
That's what I go with, to be honest. Is that I use the Marvel
Well, but
pronunciation.
Isn't the university just Xavier? It's not
It's Xavier.
Xavier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
Xavier.
I'm saying the university and then I want to say it like Dr. Xavier, I'm screwing it up.
Shut
Like
up.
nobody calls it a xylophone.
It'd be a lot more fun if they did. I feel like we'd use the letter X a lot more.
Nobody refers to the xylophone anyways.
Right.
so-
Well, it was just an example. that
yeah,
popped in my
it's
head.
true.
So he's supposed to be sentenced July 10th. He faces up to 50 years in federal prison without parole.
I feel like that's not enough.
He's older, isn't he?
Yeah, I know, but still, like multiple bank robberies.
No, he's 29.
Oh, he's old. So he could still get out. when he's
Multiple bank
80.
robberies, violent string of robberies of banks and credit unions in 7 states,
Oh yeah, see,
and then
multiple
laundering
states,
the
Yeah,
stolen
that's
money through
across state
casinos.
lines. Oh,
That's like federal
casinos.
stuff.
Yes, basically it said that he was
Wire
he was
fraud?
using the money that he stole and then using that to gamble
Gamble?
to try to launder it.
Holy,
To pay back debts. I mean, this sounds
he-
mob-esque.
he's going to federal prison.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going. He's
And they said, I don't know why this tickles me so much. Babudar, known for attending NFL games, quote, dressed as a wolf in Chiefs clothing.
The media. just
somebody
sometimes-
whoever wrote that was just so proud of
And
themselves.
it's in
Oh,
this article.
yeah.
It's in quotes, so I don't know if that came from like a court document or what.
That's what I'm
but
saying. Whoever wrote that though, probably his lawyer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Give
I'm
himself a
betting
nice
on the
big-
lawyer. Like this lawyer was an English major, was like who just did not have the creativity to write.
Yeah.
And was just like, you know what? I need to change the law.
I'm very loquacious.
Yeah.
Listen to me talk.
It's that's actually a pretty good impersonation of him. My
I
God.
try.
But yeah, this is unhinged.
I mean, it's always kind of weird when you see like these because we had free throw guy here in Portland for a while. Imagine if
I
free
went
and
to school with him.
I talked to him several times. He was a nice enough dude. Kind of weird looking on TV when you see it, but some people loved him, some people hated him. Just the point is, imagine if that guy got arrested for robbing banks. You know, imagine if
Wouldn't surprise me.
I think it would at least catch some people off guard, though.
Shut out, Rob.
This part of the story also tickles me. So he must pay at least $532,675 to the victim financial institutions and forfeit, quote, any property involved in his money laundering activity, including an autographed painting of Kansas City Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes II that has been recovered by the FBI.
Well, that'll sell for $3 or $4 grand. That's about it.
Was it painted by Jackson Mahomes?
An autographed
Oh.
painting of Mahomes.
How do you get a painting autographed like that? Like
You just bring it to him.
I guess.
They do private signings. I mean, Justin Herbert, there was a time where you could just send him anything to get autographed. He still does this, I believe, every off season. You pay $300, $500, and you can send him stuff to get
I
signed.
bet it wasn't even that because this guy was well known as like the #1 Chiefs fan, so I'm sure
Oh,
he had a bit more
He was at a
access
banquet,
than somebody sitting up in section 702. You know what I mean? But
I'm still the lawyer using the football terminology. It's
knee down.
the government has been blitzing Xavier, and his pocket was collapsing.
like, how long do you think he searched for that? Like, I need to find something.
Yes, I need
something that works as
I need football puns.
synonym for this. Pocket collapsing. Yes, that's it.
He wanted to go viral with this crappy, like, whatever he's
I mean, he
doing,
should have gone
yeah.
out there full NASCAR with like ads for his law firm on his suit. Like, if you're gonna go full cheese, go all the way in.
Well,
wear a
just
hat, yeah.
Start out with the outtakes. If you don't chew Big Red, then F you.
Right?
Or like Michael Scott, like, when time's not a factor, I prepare like 5 intros. I'll try each one of them.
When you're working on your mysterious lady parts.
Like, I just,
Good God.
I don't know, man. This is all very, 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 very weird. Speaking of very weird, I saw this pop up as we were getting ready for the show. Speaking of soap operas and Days of Our Lives, Jerry Jones is wrapped up in a paternity suit. What the? But he's old. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan.
Thanks to
Vancouver Ford text line chiming in on the last segment that I bet that lawyer used ChatGPT to come up with that.
I hope he did.
You know what? During the next break, I might try to put in I need football related puns for a Chiefs super fan convicted of robbing a bank.
I love ChatGPT. I've used ChatGPT for like my sports updates just to find stories. If you have it connected to the internet searching, I do pay for the what is it, $20 a month to have it actually connect to the internet and use that info. So it's not bad. It can come up with some pretty unique things, but usually you better do some work and confirm all that information before you go with it. And this guy sounded like it was directly from a ChatGPT script.
I mean,
absolutely.
That's absolutely unhinged level stuff, which kind of falls in line with the story that popped up on the front page of ESPN today, which was Cowboys owner Jerry Jones must take paternity test. And I was like, for Stephen Jones, not his kid? And like, apparently there's been a long-going battle between Jones and a 27-year-old woman who claims that Jerry Jones is her biological father. A Texas judge on Wednesday rejected an appeal from Jones on a 2022 ruling in a paternity case brought by one Alexandra Davis, who has previously alleged in a separate lawsuit that she was conceived from a relationship Jones had with her mother in the mid-1990s, which problematic for Jones because why? He's married, of course. That's, oil magnate, or he's not oil magnate, a football sports magnate, and guy who took money from the Teamsters to buy the Cowboys, I'm sure has always been on the up and up.
Oh, I'm sure every time he goes to a hotel room on his own, I'm sure he's never had anybody but his wife in there with him, or never, ever had a tryst anywhere, ever but his wife, since 1963.
This is the totality of this. In March of 22, Davis sued Jones in Dallas County, asking a judge to void a legal agreement she said her mother, Cynthia Davis, reached with Jones 2 years after she was born. The 1998 settlement allegedly said Jones would support them financially as long as they didn't publicly say he was Alexandra's father, something the married owner of the Cowboys has denied. Davis has since dropped that case, saying she would instead seek to prove that Jones is her father and then file a paternity case. So, Davis's original lawsuit claimed that Jones pursued Cynthia Davis, who was also married at the time, and they met while he was working for American Airlines out of Little Rock, Arkansas.
Little Rock.
So
some Little Rock action.
So Bill Clinton, Jerry Jones, both liking some strange in Little Rock, Arkansas.
I'll tell you what, them ladies. Oh man, Little Rock, Arkansas ladies. They get you going.
The interesting thing about this is
I
that
did not have sexual relations with that woman.
But it's Jera.
Depends on what your definition of is.
Still might be the best line ever in human history. What depends on what your definition of is.
It's like, did she get in your pants or not, Bill?
I mean, that's just
yes or no. Well, I don't quite know.
Depends on what your definition of pants is.
Outside the pants, inside the pants.
Look, it was only second base. It wasn't a home run.
If you read a couple of other books, there's some other allegations. And this is direct from like Secret Service agents from Bill Clinton. Like, they stooped. That's just allegedly.
The interesting thing here is that attorneys for Jones say Alexandra Davis has received millions of dollars from Jones in her lifetime, according to court documents. I feel like this needs to go full Maury Povich.
You are the father.
Like that's what brings Maury back,
right? Although is he
is he alive?
Well,
no,
he's alive. But
okay,
him and Connie Chung are still
super
kicking.
old now.
He's getting old.
Yeah,
and
he is.
He's
in his 80s.
Let's do a quick check. Maury Povich alive,
pretty sure he's alive, yeah.
85.
Yeah, he's
but I
up
think
there.
yeah.
Wow,
That's older than I thought even.
Well, he didn't stop Maury until he was like in his early 80s. It was recent.
It's only been a few years.
Povich is married to Connie Chung.
You didn't know that?
Forever.
Yeah,
Forever.
Well, because they were both. Maury Povich was a news anchor.
Yeah, I knew that.
That's how they met.
Back into
Wow.
God, what was the show? Was it I know there was it was a current affair or something
Yes,
like that.
it was like he was
One of those syndicated shows.
an investigative reporter. Yeah,
like Inside Edition.
No, it was actually, you go back and watch it, it was really good. And then he sold his soul and it was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm just going to read paternity tests and lie detector.
Well,
That's like how
you know
Jerry
what? He's
Springer
actually-
started out as a serious talk show.
Yeah.
and then
Yes, he did.
went Jerry Springer.
Which you go get that money.
Jerry
but-
was a mayor, too.
Povich has actually done it recently.
Yeah.
As of December 19th, 2023, Maury Povich was consulted for a paternity test
Oh, yeah.
for the Denver Zoo. Denver Zoo wasn't sure which
Getting that cameo money, basically, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Which orangutan was the father of the child? So they asked Maury Povich to deliver the results.
Did the not father run backstage? did the mother run with her arms wailing around, screaming, not willing to take any responsibility for her admitted lies? That was the thing I hated about Maury Povich is every time you are not the father, they'd be like, oh, okay, this woman who's freaking out, running backstage, trying to get away from any responsibility or actually being called out for her lies and BS. Oh, no, we got to protect her. We got to be
The
like...
sanctity of the man that would be like, I knew it! I knew it! I kind of want Jerry Jones to win now. I kind of want Jerry Jones to win now because the Jerry Jones victory lap on this might be pretty good. The man gets hot and bothered and hops on radio talk shows when his quarterback comes up short. What do you think he's going to be like if all of a sudden this woman has been after him for a decade, chasing him, saying that he is her father? What do you think he's going to do then?
We ain't found shit.
I just wonder how many other flight attendants or airline employees there are out there that NFL owners have stooped that we're just not hearing about. There's a lot. We don't hear about it. I find this seedy side of not just sports but human behavior fascinating. I want to hear more. I love when people are caught. So this is a good day. This is fun.
Because NDAs have gotten better.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, the rumors of, like, you know, the NDAs that anybody with LeBron James has, these reports have been out there. Allegedly, but many different news sources have put this report out. It's like, well, we know, but we don't actually know.
Well, and if I remember correctly in the story, it was this young lady's mother who signed an NDA. She didn't sign it, so she's not beholden to anything.
She's not beholden to it, which, if it's true, go get your money, girl.
Right? Get that bag, man.
CTC, cash that check.
America in a nutshell.
Right.
I'm not beholden to the lawsuit.
We are a country of lawsuits.
Am I being detained?
Going full on Wu-Tang. Cash rules everything around me.
Well, there's some people earning themselves some money as I just watched a defensive lineman run a 4.69.
Dang. Well, that's the new high, I think.
That is the new high on the day for the Underwear Olympics, which this is a good point to transition to. The NFL Combine is underway. There is a million news notes and stories, including sometimes saying less is really the way you should go about things. We'll get to that and more coming up here on Danny Dusty, Danny the Fan. Number 3 on Danny and Dusty on a wonderful Thursday afternoon. My wife's listening. I'm sorry. Please don't kill me when we get home. Just throw that out there. Please don't kill me. I made a mistake. She came by to grab something from me, and well, her text messages didn't come through on the phone, and then I got a call, and I was like, oh, I'll run it out there. She must have just gotten here. No, she had been sitting in the parking lot for about 20 minutes.
You insensitive jerk.
Yeah, and now I'm dead.
In your defense, I have had the same issue. My wife has texted me. It does not pop up in my notifications. So it's like, what the hell? I have 2-3 texts from you, and I haven't seen them. It's not my fault, babe. I love you.
Yeah, I just took the L and said, I'm sorry. I said, go ahead and buy yourself something nice.
Good job.
It's literally what I texted. Go buy yourself something nice.
Just peel off a couple 20s.
Love you, babe.
Yeah. Leave this on the nightstand for
Please.
you.
Well, the problem is with my wife, something nice might actually hurt. that my wife's got some
yeah, she walking into like
current me withstanding. She likes nice things.
She walking into Target or like Sur La Table. There's a difference.
Yeah, no, she likes the Sir. Like it's a problem. So
no, it's not. Nice things are great.
She settled with me, and then with nothing else. That's how this goes. Settling, something the Raiders are very familiar with doing at the NFL Combine. Hopefully not the case this year, but the NFL Combine is going on. The Underwear Olympics, the defensive linemen, the interior linemen have gone. The pass rushers going now, including the freak himself, Chop Robinson, quite literally running his 40-yard dash right now at 4.49.
Damn, that's a new high or a new low, for the day for DLs.
Goodness sakes.
Ooh. Sean Payton.
There are running backs and wide receivers that are going, uh-oh. That is terrifying.
I mean, a wide receiver can only run at like, what, 3.8, 3.7, maybe?
No. The fastest times we've ever seen in the 40s is the unofficial Bo Jackson 4.18.
Okay, so yeah, he can't even get under 4.
Yeah, so I mean, like,
it's done.
This is insane. This is like 4.49 for a 270-pound edge rusher is disgusting.
I mean, hey, Usain Bolt's still laying around somewhere. They were talking like a decade ago to throw some cleats on him and put him at wide receiver because he's faster than everybody. I don't know if that still applies.
That would make sense for the Raiders. That's what they do.
That's what they do. I mean,
that's fair.
That's why Darius Hayward-Bay was a wide receiver for the Raiders, because he ran in a straight line very fast. His hands were worse than mine, but, run fast. That's how it goes. I say all this because the Underwear Olympics can make or break for some guys. Chop Robinson is a guy who was highlighted as one of the freaks of the NFL Combine, a guy to watch, as it were, coming into the NFL Combine. He is expected. Mel Kiper has him as his number one guy to dominate the Combine. He's tested at over 250 pounds. He's number 25 on his big board. Expect to be a first-round pick, but the combine numbers, he expects Chop Robinson, to essentially lead or be at the top in essentially every category.
I mean, not only Chop, but we've seen so many great times from these edge rushers. Like the edge talent in the NFL now, I feel like, I don't know, maybe a couple of years before Kayvon Thibodeau came in, you started to see this transition to more the Aaron Donald type of kids, and now we're seeing everybody coming out of the combine looking like an Aaron Donald, at least in the last 6 runners, running under 4.8, 4.9.
Yeah, these guys all look like DK Metcalf. They're all 6'4", 250 pounds, and run sub 4.6 40s. The NFL and the world that they are in now is just terrifying. The athletes and the there's another 4.81 for another edge rusher. I mean, it's just freaky.
Well, it makes you wonder, like this dual quarterback thing. It can work. We'll totally see success from CJ or Justin Fields or Caleb Williams. It's like, not guaranteed. Look at these guys. They're a hell of a lot faster. You can't run 80 yards around everybody like you can in college. It's just not happening.
Shout out the Vancouver Ford text line for throwing out the other Raiders who ran very fast, like Willie Gault, Rocket Ishmael. Tim Brown wasn't the fastest wide receiver on the face of the planet, but he is the best in Raiders history and one of the best of all time, who's clinically underrated. I will die on that hill.
But Jerry for a few years.
Yeah, you had Tim and Jerry on the same team, in fact.
Yes, you did.
But there is more to the Combine than the Underwear Olympics. You get the interviews and you get the media sessions. And sometimes you get some of the more, I don't know. This is the kind of clip where I think a player might have cost himself some money. Tyler Owens is a guy who is suspected of possibly running the fastest 40 at the combine at 4.29, 4.28. He's a safety from Texas Tech. A lot of Texas Tech lately. Keeping in line with what Dusty highlighted yesterday about his experiences in Lubbock and the fans at Lubbock throwing stuff on the field or on the court 2 nights ago, and just a general craziness, this kind of seems in tune. This is Tyler Owens at the NFL Combine.
You guys are discussing that you don't believe in.
Nah, I don't believe in space. I'm like, I'm real religious, so I think like where he's from right now. I don't think it's like other planets or stuff like that. I don't know.
What led you to that point to believe that?
Well, like I thought you should believe like the heliocentric thing, like we get some wild around the sun and stuff. But then like I started seeing like flat Earth stuff, and I was like, that was kind of interesting. And they started bringing up valid points. I don't know. Could be real. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome, man.
The audio's a little fuzzy there. It sounded a little bit better when I was listening to it earlier. Long story short,
he doesn't believe in space.
Doesn't believe in space. You hear him say something about flat Earth, but the bigger part of that is he doesn't believe in space.
So basically, he thinks Earth is like one of the tortillas that gets launched in the stadium every
Yes.
Saturday.
Yes.
So Space Force is useless to this guy. I mean, they kind of are, but really useless to this guy.
Yes. If you're an NFL executive, you're either thinking, this guy's so dumb, we can probably get him for less. We can probably let him, he'll probably slide down the draft board.
You're probably right.
Or you're like, please, God, no. We don't want this on our team. I always wonder just how much the interview stuff plays into this, because sometimes players are just so good, Antonio Brown, that you just let it go, no matter how crazy, stupid, inept, or whatever it is.
Yeah, sometimes the level of talent and the amount of craziness are directly proportional.
There's a ratio.
Craziness allowed are directly proportional.
I'm not here to play school.
Yeah.
Shout out Cardell Jones.
Yeah, thanks, Cardell.
Right.
I mean, he's not wrong. He wasn't wrong. Just gonna go ahead and put that out there. He wasn't there to play school. But it is interesting the way what can be made or broken at combines. Somebody running a subpar 40 at the NBA combine. Hilariously, I remember the knock on Kevin Durant because he couldn't bench press 185 pounds. Kevin Durant is number 9 all time in scoring.
Well, you talk about the interviews. Like, didn't Johnny Manziel fall because of the interview process or lack of showing up for it?
The latter.
Yeah, being present, I think, says something, and then there might be some questions. I remember, thankfully, we've moved past this, but like a decade and a half ago, there were questions about like guys using weed, and it's like, really, we're having public conversations about a possible draft pick like going lower because he smokes. Stop it.
Well, I mean, we saw an offensive tackle have a picture of him with a mask.
Well, that was a hack, and that was put out not because of him. It was somebody.
It was meant to sabotage him.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's hilarious that forced him to drop. Was it Lyle Collins?
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Yeah,
Lyle Collins. It's just. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yes, I know text line saying it's hard to translate that. I can't hear it. Yeah, no, that's why I got you guys. It came across a little fuzzier on the over the air as opposed to the audio in general. But then he goes on to describe his feelings on flat Earth, and he believes that, again, this is Tyler Owens, Texas Tech safety, run very fast. Thankfully, otherwise he might be running something that significantly less important in life if he couldn't run fast, because flat Earth theory has some valid points, was where he went with this. And look, I am very open-minded. I will just, as long as what you say doesn't affect me, not even offend me, affect me. If your brand of stupid doesn't bother me,
be stupid
in any way, be dumb. But I feel like there's a threshold for violent ignorance. And stuff like, I don't believe in space and flat Earth theory. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys be the judge. If I'm NFL GM and I come across somebody that is so violently dumb, and then let's say this might be tongue in cheek from him, having a little bit of fun. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Please be tongue in cheek. If not, I pass on this guy. He could be the best safety, most athletic dude in the league. Because at some point in time, I'm like, that level of dumb is going to come back to bite me.
They're gonna get like into some fight in the locker room. Some conversation's gonna happen with some teammates. There's gonna be some sort of disagreement, and maybe not like a physical fight, but like you're gonna see some relationships busted because they're gonna be guys walking around like, "Don't talk to that dude. He nuts."
I don't even think it's that. I when you're this receptive to stupidity, I think you start going down the Kyrie Irving path. And I'm not saying the anti-Semitic path. I just mean the path of being open to dumb. Like when he posted the link to the video that was the video/book that was anti-Semitic, and then all of a sudden you've got the group that showed up in support of him that was also violently anti-Semitic. I'm like, is this worth it?
There's a fine line between dumb and benign and dumb and dangerous.
Right, exactly.
You know?
And thank you. The Vancouver Vortex line. It was Laramie Tunsil, not Lyle Collins.
I was wondering that.
I always get those two mixed up, and I don't know why.
Well, Collins had a different issue.
Wasn't his like tied to murder?
Oh God.
I don't know that it was that, but
I'm mixing my college football scandals leading up to the draft.
But yeah,
clearly.
so it was Laramie Tunsil that basically it was like a snorkel or something essentially, right? Or
it's
swim
bong
mask, something like that.
Yeah, he had the full-on gas mask.
Yeah, that's gas mask. Thank you.
Which he was not experimented with bongs cast the first
yeah, the Lyle Collins was questions about the shooting death of a pregnant woman who he had a previous relationship with. He was not considered a suspect at the time, but went undrafted after his agents threatened that he would sit out the 2016 season.
Yeah. So. I knew there was
yeah, that was that controversy.
So yeah, but like it's been terrible through that point. But again, like you said, Jeff, that I look at that and I go, no way. No, absolutely not. I am not going to give you millions of dollars. You have not met the minimum qualifications for not being dumb enough.
I wish more people had that mindset. Because then, if he plays, they don't care. Like Kyrie Irving, for instance. I mean, I think
Kai's not dumb. That's the difference. He's intentionally stupid. That's maybe worse.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
they
thing.
Still pay him.
That's the thing about him. That's what bothers me more about him.
Just being willfully obtuse.
Yes.
And people still willing to give you a bag. Because you're a good basketball player. You go say whatever the hell you want, bud.
Have you seen him dribble?
Oh, my God.
It is
those handles.
He is maybe the best handler of all time. So
I get it. But he's probably
so like there is
the stupidest.
Again, there is the sliding scale of like, it's up there. It's up there. Speaking of stupid, the Portland Timbers can't get out of their own way. This happened. This story broke yesterday during the show, and we'll run through the whole timeline of just how violently dumb it all is. We'll get to that here coming up on Danny and Dusty, 1080 The Fan. Real quick on the Vancouver Ford text line, just highlighting the last segment on saying stupid things. It's one thing to be dumb enough to believe that, flat earth theory. It's another thing to be dumb enough to bring it up in your job interview. Which, yeah.
How does that
Keep that to
start?
yourself. Like, look, again, you can have your own dumb belief. Don't let it affect me, i.e., don't tell me about it. I don't want to know.
Yeah,
I
so
don't wanna know.
what question broached that if it did come up in the job interview? Like, yeah, so tell me about your greatest weakness or tell me about your greatest strength. Well, sir, you know, I spend a lot of my time studying something and I truly believe that the earth is really flat. And I believe my greatest strength is the ability to dive into why. Like, what the hell? Where did you start this conversation?
I would imagine he volunteered it, and as a reporter or as somebody just standing there, I'd be like, excuse me, what? Go on. I could, because I'd be peeling that layer, the layers of that onion back real fast. Peeling back layers. The layers of the stupidity, ineptitude, and just outright dumb of the Portland Timbers over the past 3 years.
They keep stepping in it.
Whether it's cases around sexual assault and harassment and their mishandlings of that led to the selling off of the Portland Thorns, the divorce of those two organizations, to now their previous sponsor now, as they move away from Alaska Airlines, who had their own, I don't know if scandal, but I would imagine the door flying off their airplane is probably in a better position than the current former sponsor.
Yeah, I don't know which is worse right now, the Timbers or Alaska Air.
Yeah, so DeBella, it's a Hillsboro-based home repair service company. The Timbers have now separated entirely from them, even after acquiring a 7-figure endorsement deal. Why? The CEO of that company, Donnie Millen, has allegedly sexually harassed women working for him. At least 3 is the report. So the Timbers have run into it at seemingly every turn. Merritt Paulson has been embroiled in this and his mismanagement of everything. If you want, go. What was his name? Polo? Anthony Polo?
I think so.
I can always remember his last name, but I can never remember his first name. Something Polo. I think that's how far I go with the Timbers. But they just seemingly can't get it right. And I had heard when they struck the deal with DeBella that they were a company that was not above board, so to speak. There was plenty behind the scenes that not great. Vancouver Ford text line, people are coming in pretty hot on the company, not endorsing of it at all.
Shocking.
So, I mean, this reeks of a situation where take the money, get a New Jersey sponsor, make sure the money's coming in, and that from then on, just hope that the nastiness goes away, goes by the wayside, and this doesn't become a problem. Well, it's a problem, and they can't get out of their own way. So what do you do if you're the Timbers right now to kind of restore faith in the organization?
You don't hire a sponsor for a bit. You just kind of take a step back, I think, and try to, like, you know what, we're going to figure out, like, who we're trying to partner with. We're going to look at ourselves as we should be right now. Maybe take some time and give up a little bit of money for, part of this season before we come to an agreement. I mean, I don't know what you can do. The Timbers, I heard Suk say this yesterday, they're sexually assaulting people even when they're not sexually assaulting people. They just repeatedly, I don't even think this is so much their fault, they have repeatedly stepped in it. So you got to step back, essentially, and I don't think you go sign another sponsor. I think that just looks bad. But as far as everything else goes, you just got to shut up and do nothing wrong. I mean, Merritt's got to be just praying like, guys, no. Like, let's never don't go out at night. Like, don't look at somebody, just play soccer and then go home, because the Timbers it's been a bad 3 years.
It's really just a dumb place for them to end up. But I will, this isn't the, you got to hand it to them, but I will give them credit. They are divorcing themselves from DeBella. DeBella has been removed from their kits and will not be on on their kits. I believe they play Saturday or Sunday. They play
And
this
it was
weekend.
quick, and it was quick.
It was within 24 hours of
Yeah.
the court filing, which was, I believe, Tuesday, which 24 hours would be Wednesday. So they waited till the due diligence on the court filings to see where things were going to land.
And of course, DeBella has come out saying this is basically a hit job, allegedly. We don't know for sure, but the Timbers aren't hearing any of that. They're like, we don't even care the accusations enough.
They need, that's whether that's fair or not, you can argue.
Yeah.
That organization has to take that.
That's
right?
again my point, because you've been so important. And it was Andy Polo, who was the coach at the time for the Timbers, who was found to have his partner claimed on Peruvian TV that he had become physically violent with her.
Never should have fired John Spencer, man. He wasn't a great coach, but he wasn't bad. I like that Scottish accent.
And they're in a place with the Timbers right now where, God, they need a win off the field.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't call this a win as much as, is it doing the right thing?
I mean, so is this...
Or is it doing the necessary and prudent thing? Like, I feel like there is a difference.
Is this such like a almost too much of like a digging into it idea where you go and you have like a sexual assault advocacy group become your next sponsor? Like really lean into trying to promote awareness of this and turn a complete 180 essentially from what your franchise has been. I don't know. There's not many PR wins that they can get right now.
According to reporting, the CEO of the Timbers, Heather Davis, apparently sat down with the accused and had a face-to-face conversation before making the determination. So there's at least that.
She did sit down.
So they did their own due diligence.
I think that's more than fair.
And at that point in time, that's probably a good place to end up. And I've seen this pop up and down on social media as far as what you just said, the idea of their next sponsor, have it be like a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Like, go the other way. Take it on the chin financially. You want to show your commitment? Okay.
You need to spend the next decade promoting like against sexual assault and promoting groups that are out there helping victims of this. No, there are ways to do this. Get involved in the community, make a national stance about it. Hell, go get a sponsor on your stadium whenever that expires. Don't make it a nonprofit, but make it, have a group that's looking at that, pay for some kind of publication that you're willing to put out there to say, hey, we are against this.
Yeah, I know. Something here needs to be done. And the text line saying that Andy Polo was a player, coach. And if I said coach, I apologize. He was a player. Paul Riley was the coach on the Timbers side who was involved in the sexual assault cases that went unreported throughout the organization and was even signed to a contract extension within the org. It was bad, which is why the Timbers and Thorns ended up being separated and sold off. Well, long story short, both organizations can't stay out of their own way, and the central theme of this continues to be Merritt Paulson.
People aren't going to forget this either. I mean, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of pushback from the Vancouver Ford text line, but it's like, what do you do? What do you just go sign another sponsor, move on? No, there's got to be some, not just public statement, but movement about this over time. This can't just be like, hey, we're going to do something this season. This has to be extended because people aren't forgetting about this. You need to take it forward to where they remember this, but they also remember the very long response that you made and the effort that you made to try and put the kibosh to it.
Yeah, just go ahead and put the sports bra on the front of the jersey. Sports bra.
Actually, not a bad idea.
That's a good. That's smart, Rust. See that's kind of where you should probably start to look. Help female-owned businesses. Like try to up like their status. Like there's some way to do this. It doesn't have to be sexual assault advocacy groups or advocating for those victims. Like that'd be awesome. But yeah, like there's many female-owned businesses that we could start to up as well. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's a lot of different ways that go about this. The thing about the branding obviously is because it's a national deal. So
it's fair.
That's part of kind of how this all shakes out. But long story short, the Timbers and the Thorns, they have managed to be in the thick of it over and over and over the last 4 or 5 years. And I will say I will give a general applause to divorcing from DeBella here at the sign of this. Like again, it's not you got to hand it to him, but it is a solid attaboy at least for separating yourself from that situation even before it goes to, if it goes to trial or not, or whether I get settled out of court. But just that because of the implications that it does draw, considering the recent history of the organization, this is a good place to end up.
I would say their stadium would have been close to empty if they hadn't have made a response, or they had kind of done the thing 5-10 years ago, like, oh, we're standing by our partners and we're going to see how the investigation plays out. Nobody would have bought tickets.
All right, well, coming up next, local old man celebrates athletic achievements. But first, here's the Big Kahuna with a Sports Center update.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
This update brought to you by Crunch Fitness. Memberships as low as $9.99 per month. Find your Crunch time in Portland, Vancouver, and online at crunch.com. First on The Fan, the Trailblazers are off until tomorrow, where they start a back-to-back with the Grizzlies in Memphis. Portland currently 15-42 on the season. That is the 5th worst record in the association. Got a little NBA basketball this evening for you tonight on The Fan. The Miami Heat at the Denver Nuggets. Coverage starts at 7 o'clock immediately following primetime. Shams Charania of The Athletic reports the Atlanta Hawks waiving guard Patty Mills. In college hoops, over on the Bluff, the Portland Pilots hosting Santa Clara this evening. 6 o'clock tip. Coverage on 910 ESPN Portland starts at 5:30. And Iowa superstar Caitlin Clark announced she will enter the WNBA draft, where she's expected to be the #1 overall pick. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Jeff Rust at the Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The original home of the Herd with Colin Cowherd. Weekdays 9 to noon, 1080 The Fan.
Always find what you love at
Last night in the NBA, LeBron James and the Lakers had a absolutely obscene comeback against Los Angeles Clippers. It is the Clippers' last game against the Lakers in Staples, Crypto, whatever the hell you want to call it, before they move into their new building in Inglewood, California, where they have over 1,200 toilets.
Thank God. We need more toilets. Seriously. The line that I saw for the ladies at Moda last night for the Fall Out Boy concert, yeah. I think a few
Steve
ladies.
Ballmer has been adamant that there will be no bathroom lines.
That is good. I
no
saw a few ladies identifying as men because they really had to pee.
Which
I'm
go
fine
for
with.
it.
No, I told my wife, hey, if you got to go, just come with me. No problem with that.
The problem is if you go to use those stalls, they will be covered in pee.
I was gonna wonder. It's like, so here's
We're all animals, and nobody actually drops trow at the at arenas because we know better.
Yeah. You wonder like if your wife's okay with taking the risk of going into an unclean toilet, or she'd rather just wait. It's like
depends on how you feel.
It's true. I guess a little drunky wonky. You're like, I just need to go, but before that, probably willing to wait. I guess.
It is what it is. But back to LeBron James and the Lakers. LeBron James, a man who's 3 months younger than me, had one of his best fourth quarters in his career. It is his biggest fourth quarter comeback. 21 points, down 77-98 with 11:10 to go against the Clippers. LeBron went absolutely nuts.
Playing like he's 21.
Knocks down 5 threes, which again, not typically a part of LeBron James's game as it pertains to the old shooting.
No, that's usually like a plus 1,000 like player prop. Like 5 threes in a game for LeBron.
Yeah, he ended up 7 of 12 from 3, 13 of 21 for the field, 34 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks.
Damn.
Plus 11 on the night. Are you to the point where, and I saw the sentiment popping up a ton, do you think that we are at the point where we take LeBron James and his feats for granted?
No, actually, because of his old age. I personally tune in knowing that I'm watching a 38, 39-year-old still being great. Still basically everything that he does on the court is greatness and carrying when he does play, because that's probably the one argument I have with LeBron is like, dude, get your ass on the court. Other guys at your age were or trying to be on the court more. Scottie Pippen, for instance, played 82 games in that 2000-2001 season for the Blazers. One of only 2 guys to do that. The other one was Damon Stoudemire. I mean, this was just a different NBA. But anyways, LeBron, now I personally don't take his accomplishments for granted. I'm not expecting a 20-point comeback, but gosh, man, 38, 39, scoring 30 points a game still. I don't think that anybody else could do it but LeBron. So I do try to sit back at this point and just take his performances. As much as I hate the guy LeBron, I love the basketball player, and watching greatness is something that's like, all right, I'm not missing this.
We've never seen somebody able to perform at this level for that long and at
the
that
sustained
kind of
excellence
age.
is unreal.
And there hasn't been a dip.
I mean, the letdown, as it were, has been minimal at best.
Yeah,
he's just now starting to show signs of decline.
Right, and even the parts where even with his what is still ridiculous athleticism, some of that has left him just.
It pales in comparison to 20-year-old LeBron.
But he has made adjustments to his game to overcome those.
These strive for greatness, look away, step back 3 that confuses and surprises no one.
I feel like people want to look. He's earned a lot of what's coming to him. You know what I mean in terms of like people's criticisms and like what they don't like about him and his personality and such. But I mean he's by all accounts a good dude. He hasn't really stepped in it. He hasn't made any major mistakes. His
biggest public faux pas was I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
Yes, and also even that wasn't the TV networks went to him for that. He didn't come
and he
say,
gave the money to the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, and he didn't come and say, "Hey, I want to do a special about my decision."
About
the networks came to him and asked him to do that. He didn't say he wanted to do it, but. For somebody to be in the public eye for that long and that famous for that long, I mean, we were hearing about him from when he was 16 years old, and he's never stepped in it. He's never made a major mistake. He's
for essentially 24 years.
Yeah, not committed a crime. We don't hear about. He's not Antonio Cromartie. You know what I mean?
Yes. In a
so-
world where he very much could be.
Yeah, and so
He's no Pac-Man Jones.
it's nice that we can have a figure like that where basically all of his criticisms and critiques are sports
Or about the
related.
corny.
or about the corny, or just
Yeah.
you know just his
Essentially,
on court.
He's kept his uncouthness
Yeah.
private.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Maybe there we
Allegedly.
go. Yeah. Maybe that's the power of the NDA. Who knows? maybe
I'm
he's
just
just maybe he's just got super great attorneys, and that's why we don't hear about anything.
Great NDA.
But,
when you're rich, yeah.
But you know, it's refreshing to have a persona like that. Somebody who is still at the peak of their game, has been at the top of their profession for so long, and has never really just been a terrible person.
I would champion still at the age of 39. Nobody today in the NBA can get to the hoop like LeBron besides maybe Jason Tatum and Giannis. I mean, it is a hard press challenge for me to watch him just getting to the hoop whenever he wants to and finishing compared to everybody else who's 10 years younger than him. No, I mean, maybe in that we're taking it for granted because we forget his age, but I'm always looking at this old dude, he's performing like this. I've got to watch this for as long as I can.
In reviewing draft tape, and I talked about it earlier, the whole idea of nitpicking things. Alex Sars is a guy that I've been doing a ton of research on and been rewatching tape on before I hit publish for the latest article on the Patreon. Is I find myself nitpicking because the stuff that he does, he makes it look so easy, makes it look so simple. And in the article, one of the things I wrote about and kind of going through his tape was that the comparison for him in that vein is Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant is the 9th leading scorer all time. And the simplicity to which he makes scoring look, he is a career 50, 38, 89 shooter. He is almost a career 50, 40, 90 guy for
good?
his career, where 40% of his shots come from the mid-range.
21 years.
Like that's insane for Kevin Durant to be there. And then you look at what LeBron James is doing now, and you just kind of go, this is a guy who's been doing this for 20 plus years. And you go, okay. So when he has a 21-point comeback in the fourth quarter against the Los Angeles Clippers, against a team that has Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and James Harden, and you see him take over at, again, 39 years old. He'll be 40 years old in December. I feel like we need to, and this is sounds so, I don't want it to sound like holier than thou. There's something about that we have lost as a society when it comes to taking in sports and to taking into individuals and greatness and appreciating them in the moment and not constantly looking for what's next, and enjoying this. I hate the Lakers, but what LeBron James is doing and has done and did last night was truly incredible. And I think we need to allow ourselves to enjoy those things and to not fall into the trappings of, but he got down 21. You know what I mean? Like there's always something.
Right, exactly.
Well, the Lakers are a 9 seed right now. It's like, and it doesn't take away from this.
The whole West kind of sucks. That doesn't matter. Yeah.
But it's like,
you don't get to a game 7 without losing 3 games first.
Exactly. Like that part of it. Maybe it's weird. In my grumpier, getting older age, I'm also getting I'm getting lighter hearted about those things. And like, hey guys, maybe take advantage of these while they're here, because you have plenty of time to be grumpy. And it kind of take some time, smell the roses on the side of the road.
Apropos of nothing, and a hill I will continue to die on. Greg Oden was still the right choice.
He was.
Hey, at the time, that's how you built an NBA championship. It was a center, and they had the big 3. And I know I say if the Blazers may have handled him better, if he wouldn't have gotten so injured, that would have been a 2 championship team at that time in that league. Absolutely, the way that it was being played.
Yeah, I stand by it, but it is what it is. Speaking of the Trailblazers injury report has been released for the game tomorrow afternoon against the Memphis Grizzlies. The usuals that have been out are going to be out: Malcolm Brogdon, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, Robert Williams III. DeAndre Ayton has been added to the injury list and is doubtful with a right hand sprain, which doubtful in Blazers parlance means he ain't playing tomorrow.
So half the team. Got it.
Yeah, and 4 of your top 7. to start the season.
Oh, hey, maybe we can give Haggins a run.
Embrace the tank.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little rough. So that's your Blazers news. So some NFL news as we close today's show, making a change towards the future that everyone and their mom has been clamoring for. Danny and Dusty, Danny the Fan. Tom Pelissero with some interesting news on the technology front. We may be facing the last year of the NFL's chain gang.
I love
a
this.
sport worth $21 billion eyeballing first downs and using placards of paper to see if they did indeed reach the first down could be a thing of the past.
And hoping a couple of 60-year-old dudes on the sideline remember where the spot was.
Well, that's what the clip's for. You put it at the end of the yard mark or the end of the yard line to make sure it's consistent. No, Tom Pelissero is reporting the NFL has tested optical tracking in 2 stadiums. They already have it at all of them. And the Super Bowl last season for line to gain rulings, league officials said today. The technology isn't expected to be ready for the 2024 season, but it would require a vote, but the future is coming.
Thank God.
They've had the capacity and have used a chip in the ball before to people.
I mean, we've got chips on the pylons now. That there's
the little camera on the pylons. Yeah, like which.
There's optical tracking now that you could just do with a camera. You don't even really need technology in the ball, frankly.
Well, you do because the ball gets in the bottom of the pile.
Or just use. I mean, there's.
It would be.
I hear you. You're right. It's quicker.
How many things would it change over the history of the game? I would say that the number is unimaginably huge.
Oh yeah. I mean,
if we knew the exact spotting of the ball.
Yeah. It's.
On every single down.
Instead of the ref just throwing it down and say, let's go.
Yeah. Umpire going, it's good.
4th and 1. Okay, he didn't get it. No, maybe he actually did. Your spot sucked.
You're every down first, 1st and 10. And you run off a play, it's 10 yards, but they mark it says 2nd and 1.
Well,
that changes your play calling. Like
yeah.
the sliding doors to actual line marking has to be unfathomable.
The one that I always kind of, I don't want to say marveled at, but wondered about is how accurate like the linesmen are on the sidelines when a punt goes out of bounds.
Oh, they're just eyeballing that thing,
trying to mark
They're
that.
just looking up in the air like he's got his hand up in the air, swinging like keep going, keep going, keep going.
Don't they have like a beanbag they throw?
Yeah, and you're just eyeballing.
But it's just, I mean, that's like, are they just hoping for like a 5-yard buffer? Basically, and be like,
which is insane when you think about it, because
horseshoes and hand grenades, it's close enough.
Major League Baseball, we've got tracking data that will tell us the spin rate of the ball as it gets smacked the living hell out of the park.
Yeah, but NFL officials,
like it's about here. I saw it. I looked up.
Approximately.
Do you look at this as like the NFL willing to admit that this needed to happen? Because I feel like
I don't think it needed to happen. I just think it's interesting because the NFL, for being the biggest sport that they are, and let's get it right, has more of the than any other sport.
Right.
Like maybe like Major League Baseball, there's actual data backing up that most Major League umpires are within 97% or better on the strike zone.
And then there's Angel Hernandez,
who has historically been below that. Like there's math that shows it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's no way for the public to track said punt or to track the ball other than, well, let's go to this instant replay. Like, I mean, what was that? Was it the Washington Oregon game that had the terrible spot? Because there was the catch that wasn't a catch, blah blah blah. But I want to say there was a spot in there where everybody was like, that's terrible. Like it was like a yard short. It was like they gave him a first down.
Yeah.
Like those kind of like
brutal.
There's so much of that happens in football, yet we are so worried about how precise we are with things.
Yeah.
It's seemingly the most precise sport of all time, while also the most egregiously disregarding of precision as well.
Yeah. It's quite the dichotomy.
Is there still anybody out there that's clamming for like, well, it's okay, we need human error in the game?
Yes.
Why?
I think one guy outside the room. I believe Suk is one of those guys.
Oh my God! If we have the ability to track things accurately, now then I think we should do it. However, like in baseball, I do love managers arguing with umpires. So one thing that's gone away because of all these technology like tracking things happening and reviews going on now is people don't argue as much. So I guess in the NFL that doesn't really happen. It's just more about getting it right, which there's been so many ways that they've gotten it wrong. So why leave human error to chance?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
In a league that's so precise about everything, it's just it is kind of funny how it's just left up to I think that's right.
The NFL is made up of that. Okay, like think about a sack. How really? How accurate are we getting that spot?
Right?
When that quarterback gets picked up and ragdolled.
Yeah.
And we're talking like
forward progress.
Yeah, you could touch the quarterback time period. Like the quarterback gets picked up by Deacon Jones and thrown 7 yards. Like are you spotting him where Deacon picked him up?
Right.
Like again, the sliding doors of if you change that we're going multiverse of madness type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Strange. It's just such an interesting thing. I wonder, like for everybody that's out there, particularly, I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about within the NFL. Everyone that's out there is like, we want things to be right and correct. If all of a sudden they are precise, how much that really changes things. What about the time when you are quite literally 0.5 millimeter short of first down because we have laser tracking technology that says, well, the eyeball would have said, yeah, you made it. But actually, in fact, go full Maury Povich, you did not get the first down.
Hey, I think we saw this happen with Kadarius Toney over the line. Like, they called that. They didn't have to, and Chiefs fans thought that they shouldn't have. Is that the human error? Like, when it affects me positively, I'm okay with it? Like, I just don't get it.
So where do we go next? Do we go to like sensors in the uniforms so we can figure out exactly if somebody's knee touched the ground?
Actually, we probably should have that. I'm surprised that pads, like the shoulder pads and then the knee and thigh pads, don't have sensors in them.
I mean, honestly, I think you could probably put the sensor stuff in the field, to be honest.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
Why not put them in both? I mean, this isn't going to be expensive.
Yeah, it still is.
We're talking a multi-billion-dollar
NFL, it's
operation
not.
here. That's what I'm saying.
For
It's
you and me,
relatively
it is,
no.
not for them.
I'm just saying, for the organization that continues to not pay its former players all that well for medical stuff.
Well, hey,
I
the
don't think
Chiefs.
I don't think they're making that investment. Also, yeah, did you see what the Chiefs are not doing for their players? Like,
Everything?
So, I don't really think that's
Except
gonna be
their
a
head
problem.
coach.
Right. Well, that's it for today's show. Schultze, thanks for hopping in.
Dude, that was fun. Thanks for having me. Love to do it again. I've been here a year and a half. This is the first time that you and I have done a show together.
I thought we did one.
We did not. We did not. It was Dusty, you and I. No. This is the very first time.
Oh, well, there you go.
So
Blame Jeff Rust.
You know what?
I just show up and do stuff. He schedules.
I finally lost my Danny Meringue, Jeff Rust virginity.
There you go.
So I'm happy.
I
as hell
would
about
not
that.
say that out loud.
Yeah. What? There's one thing you won't say out loud?
I've said so many things out loud that have turned into drops. I'm desensitized, okay? I love you guys.
That's where Danny draws the line.
I will say this on the Vancouver Ford text line regarding the Lakers and Clippers. Didn't bet the NBA all year. Grabbed the Clips last night. Epic.
I'm so sorry.